Chapter 11:11. Sima Yue sighed in her heart. It was hard to say when it came to relationships. Usually she didn't feel anything, but after going around in circles, it turned out that she still had that person in her heart. Thinking of this, she looked at Shi Qianji and Shi Qiu Shuang, wondering what would happen between the two of them. Shi Qiu Shuang had someone else in her heart, but she could tell that Shi Qianji liked Qiu Shuang. He just didn't know what would happen to them later on. She frowned when she thought of Wu Lingyu, who was still unconscious. He didn't know how long he had been comprehending it, but it definitely wasn't a short time. Counting the time he spent in the spirit pagoda, he didn't know how long he had slept. He still hadn't woken up after such a long time. She was a little worried about his situation. "Qingyi," she called out. An azure-robed figure appeared. Looking at Shi Qianji and Shi Qiu Shuang, he said, "Since you've come in, then go and try." With a wave of his hand, Shi Qianji and his companion were wrapped in golden light and disappeared. At the same time, Jiang Junxian, who was about to kiss Han Miao Shuang in the treetop, also disappeared. Han Miao Shuang was waiting for her first kiss with her eyes closed, but why did this person suddenly disappear? She opened her eyes and saw the empty branches. She couldn't react. However, she couldn't help but blush when she recalled what had just happened. Fortunately, he was gone, otherwise Sima Yue flew into the treetop and said, "Qingyi, do you know why my senior brother hasn't woken up yet? How much time had passed? How long have I been in the tree hole?" "From the time you guys came here, it's been more than a year." Qingyi said, "As for the time you stayed in the tree hole, it's been a few decades." "Decades?" Sima Yue cried out. "Counting the time in the spirit pagoda, wouldn't Wu Lingyu have slept for a few hundred years?" "Why are you so surprised?" Qingyi said, "The time in the tree hole is controlled by me. It has nothing to do with the outside world. It won't affect your body. You're still in your 30s. "That's not what I'm worried about." Sima Yue said, "You know my secret. Are you worried about the people in the space?" Qingyi knew what she was thinking. "The time is the same as the time outside. It has nothing to do with the time I created." Sima Yue heaved a sigh of relief, but she was still worried. More than a year outside means more than 10 years inside. Senior Marshal Brother slept for more than 10 years without waking up. As long as I'm here, he won't wake up even if he sleeps for 100 years. What? Although he has returned to his original position, he has been wandering for so many years and his soul is injured. Qingyi said. "What does this have to do with you?" Sima Yue was confused. "Have you forgotten what I am?" What was he? The tree of life. The fact that I can become a tree of life naturally means that I have life force. My aura is both a great supplement and a suppressive force to him. Qingyi continued. Sima Yue understood. Will it affect him if he continues to sleep like this? Does helping him repair his soul count? Qingyi said, "Actually, he's quite lucky. If it were you, I'm afraid you'd never wake up." What? Han Miao Shuang asked. Although she didn't understand what they meant when they said those things about Wu Lingyu, when it concerned Sima Yue, she immediately became nervous. Sima Yue knew the reason. "Is it because of the ghost clan in my body?" "Yes," Qingyi said. "Ghost clan? What does this have to do with you?" The ghost clan mainly absorbs dark spiritual energy and death energy, and these are restrained by life force. Sima Yue explained. "If I fall into a coma, I definitely won't be able to resist his life force. There's no chance of winning. Fortunately, your body hasn't been completely controlled by the ghost clan's aura," Han Miao Shuang said. "Yeah, or else I wouldn't be able to comprehend this realm and Tao." Sima Yue was also glad. "Realm? What's that?" "You didn't comprehend it?" "I only comprehended my Tao but nothing else," Han Miao Shuang said. "What's a realm?" "Realm, how should I put it? It's equivalent to my own time and space, a world." Sima Yue said. "In this world, I'm the master. It's a little similar to the space sealed by an array master, but one uses the current space, while the realm is my own space that I comprehend." "Isn't that even more awesome?" Han Miao Shuang said excitedly. "An array master's space seal is already very powerful, but yours sounds even more powerful than that. I'm considered lucky, I happened to comprehend it at Qingyi's place and borrowed his power," Sima Yue said. "Realm can only be comprehended by spirit masters who are paragon rank and above. At your age and power it has never appeared before," Qingyi said. This was also the reason why he was so surprised when he first saw her comprehend a realm. "You've always been in the immortal land, how do you know if other places have it?" Han Miao Shuang didn't believe it. "Although I didn't go out, people kept coming in," Qingyi said. From their memories I can know a lot of things that happened outside. Han Miao Shuang stared at him with wide eyes. He was so awesome. If someone could comprehend a realm at her age, it would have spread across the entire continent. It wouldn't be unknown. Those who came in here would definitely know, so I would naturally know too. Qing Yi said. How would you know? You're not a roundworm in their stomach. Unless... Han Miao Shuang reacted. You can see other people's memories? Qing Yi silently agreed. Han Miao Shuang subconsciously wanted to take a step back, but there was no path behind her. She almost fell down. It was a good thing that Sima Yu pulled her back. She stood still and looked at Qing Yi. You're so scary. No one can keep secrets from you anymore. Not really, Qing Yi said. There's one person I can't see his memories. Who? Shen Xiuhe. That person's brain is protected by something, not letting the outside world know. Thinking of Shen Xiuhe, he didn't know why, but he felt that something would happen to him in the future. Shen Xiuhe? He came too. Sima Yue asked. A few months ago he came and left. He comprehended Tao very quickly. He's also a genius. Is his body better? Sima Yue asked. With the support of Tao, he won't be too far off. Qing Yi said. Seems like there are quite a lot of people who comprehended Tao. Han Miao Shuang said. But it's also true. Even someone like Nalan Lan comprehended it. It's not strange for others to do it. Nalan Lan? She comprehended Tao too? Sima Yue narrowed her eyes. Not only did she come, Zhong Zhenghan you came too. Qing Yi said. But your senior sister already helped you get some interest. Chapter 11-12. Sima Yue raised her eyebrows. Interest? Speaking of this, Han Miao Shuang was in a good mood and said, Little junior sister, you don't know. That Nalan Lan actually succeeded in enlightenment at the same time as me. Guess what happened next? Sima Yue felt much better when she saw how happy she was. She shook her head. I can't guess. I guess you won't be able to guess it either. Han Miao Shuang laughed mischievously. Our Tao appeared at the same time. Mine was the 4 words cherish and protect. Hers was the 4 words holy lotus heart. In the end, my words entered my body, but her heart didn't want her and ran into my body. Ran into your body? Wouldn't you be stealing her Tao then? Sima Yue said in surprise. What do you mean I stole her Tao? That heart character ran into my body on its own. I didn't do anything. Han Miao Shuang said. Then wouldn't her Tao be incomplete? Sima Yue was in a good mood. That's right. It's probably because that heart saw that she was so evil and pretended to be pure outside, so it didn't like her and came to me. Han Miao Shuang giggled and said, You didn't see it. At that time, Nalan Lan and the people from the Sage Pavilion were so angry, but they could only stare. With their temper they won't let you go. Qing Yi helped me. With him protecting me, those people wouldn't dare to do anything here. I can't do anything. Han Miao Shuang said proudly. They couldn't enter the enchantment and couldn't get close to her. They couldn't take revenge even if they wanted to. Then it's best that you don't act alone in the future. The people from the Sage Pavilion might make a move on you at any time. Sima Yue warned. If it were any other matter, there might be a possibility of resolving it. However, this matter was related to the heavenly Tao. Even if it were her, she could not pretend that nothing had happened. Especially when Nalan Lan continued to comprehend the heavenly Tao. Every time she thought about how her heavenly Tao was incomplete, Han Miao Shuang stole the most important word, heart. She would probably vomit blood frequently. We have a holy son of the Sage Pavilion by our side. What am I afraid of? Han Miao Shuang said, Even without your senior brother, I wouldn't be afraid. Isn't it just the Sage Pavilion? It's not like they're invincible. Yes, I know. Senior sister, you have senior brother protecting you now. With senior brother around, you don't have to be afraid of anything. Sima Yue joked. Great junior sister, you're making fun of me. Watch how I'm going to shut your mouth today. Han Miao Shuang took out a spirit fruit and stuffed it into Sima Yue's mouth. Sima Yue lightly stomped her feet and flew from one branch to another, dodging her attack. What's wrong? Are you angry? Sima Yue said with a smile. I haven't asked you what's going on between you and senior brother. What do you mean what happened? There's nothing between him and me. Han Miao Shuang chased after her. What do you mean nothing? Why are you looking at my senior brother and crying so sadly? Iske, look at my senior brother's eyes, he's so heartbroken. Stop right there. Sima Yue flew to another branch and Han Miao Shuang chased after her. I used to think that senior brother was lazy and didn't care about anything. He only knew how to sleep all day. I didn't expect him to be such a gentle person. Tiske, I can't help but feel heartbroken. Go away. You're the one feeling heartbroken for your senior brother. I also feel heartbroken for my senior brother. Sai, if he knew that you're not admitting it, I wonder if it would affect him from passing the test? Why didn't I realize that you're so talkative? You might as well keep wearing men's clothes. You're so gossipy when you're a girl. Stop right there. Hee, if you want me to stop, you'll have to chase after me first. Wait till I catch up with you, see how I'll deal with you. You'll have to catch up with me first. Qingyi returned to the tree trunk and didn't look at the two of them who were like lunatics. When the people outside heard that they were chasing each other on the Tree of Life, they were envious. Why did the Tree of Life treat them differently? After chasing for a while, Sima Yue and Han Miao Shuang finally stopped. Each of them sat on a branch and leaned against the tree trunk. The first time I saw him, I saw the pain hidden in his eyes and the anger towards life. At that time I thought that this guy was so happy, but why did he still look so smelly? Until I knew his identity, I then knew why. Han Miao Shuang muttered. You were attracted by his gaze? Sima Yue laid on the branch, her long hair fell on both sides like a waterfall. I guess so. Han Miao Shuang said, that guy only knows how to sleep. He doesn't care about anyone, but he's obsessed with alchemy. Why didn't I notice it at all after living in the parting garden for so long? Sima Yue said, is it because you guys hid it too well, or is my reaction too slow? That's because I hid it very carefully. Han Miao Shuang said, you know, I was abandoned by the Han clan. At that time I thought he was the Jiang clan's young master. Even if we're together now, he would have to return to the Jiang clan in the future. So I didn't think that I would be with him. But I didn't expect him to be abandoned too. Then I realized that you guys are quite compatible. Sima Yue smiled as she continued. But we didn't meet after that? Han Miao Shuang said, when we met this time, I suddenly felt wronged and couldn't control myself. I thought he would laugh at me. After all, he didn't show anything special before. I'm quite surprised too. I didn't expect senior brother to have such a side. It's true that even tempered steel can become soft. Sima Yue said. I don't know when they'll come out. Han Miao Shuang said. Sima Yue took out Shimen Feng and the other's life jade. They were all fine, which meant that nothing happened to them in the restriction. So she wasn't in a hurry to go over. Oh right, little junior sister. Did you realize that Qingyi treats us differently from the others? Han Miao Shuang imitated her and laid down. She turned sideways and said to Sima Yue, really? Sima Yue didn't think so. You just came out, so you don't know. Han Miao Shuang said. She told Sima Yue about the things she saw during this period of time. Compared to them, she realized that it was indeed different. Hearing you say it, it's indeed different. Sima Yue said. Why do you think it's like that? You can't be saying that we're charming, right? Han Miao Shuang said half-jokingly. Sima Yue laughed and said, if it's really about charm, then it's Little Seven's charm. You're saying that he treats us so well because of Little Seven? Chapter 11-13. Read 336. Little Seven? Yeah. Sima Yue said, think about how Little Seven reacted when she saw Qingyi. That means that she and Qingyi know each other. Han Miao Shuang thought about it for a moment. Little Seven's reaction was really strange. But Qingyi has been here for a few decades, and Little Seven has never been to the immortal realm before. How did they know each other? She couldn't figure it out. Sima Yue wasn't sure either. Maybe they knew each other before? We'll ask Little Seven when she comes out. Before coming in, Little Seven said that she might evolve in here. I didn't expect her to really evolve. Little junior sister, tell me, Little Seven is already so powerful. If she evolves again, what level will she reach? Han Miao Shuang said. Seeing that Sima Yue wasn't listening to her, she shouted, Little junior sister? Junior sister? I'm here, senior sister. What's wrong? Sima Yue asked. I'm talking to you. What are you thinking about? Why are you so engrossed? Nothing. Sima Yue smiled. She recalled what Qingyi had said to her before. He said that other than helping with cultivation, Little Seven could also help people advance, especially those at the Imperial Emperor level. She didn't notice it at that time, but now that she thought about it, Qingyi's voice was a little unsteady when he said that, which meant that his emotions were a little unstable at that time. Why did his emotions become unstable when he talked about this? Was it because he had seen it before? Or had Little Seven experienced something like this before? Han Miao Shuang saw that Sima Yue was distracted again after a few sentences. She knew that she must be thinking about something, so she didn't say anything to disturb her. There were fewer and fewer people outside. Many of them had figured out Qin Yi's temper. They knew that it was hopeless and there was no point in staying. After a few more days, Su Xiaoxiao also succeeded in comprehending the Tao. His Tao was very simple: perseverance. Although it was only 2 words, it was already very good for Su Xiaoxiao, who was not very talented. Xiaoxiao is out too. Now we're just waiting for little 7 and Jianghu Xian. Han Miao Shuang was sincerely happy for Su Xiaoxiao. Senior brother is here too? Su Xiaoxiao asked. They're here. Not only did he come, he even made up with senior sister. Sima Yue said. Little junior sister, your mouth is broken again. Han Miao Shuang pretended to be angry. Su Xiaoxiao was big but she wasn't stupid. He immediately understood what was going on when they talked back and forth. Senior brother and senior sister are together? He looked at Sima Yue and asked. Yue nodded with a smile. I really didn't expect that. But it's a good thing. Otherwise you'll feel so bad every time you think of him, Su Xiao said. Who would have thought that he would feel uncomfortable? Han Miao Shuang refused to admit it. You think I don't know? It's normal that little junior sister doesn't know since she's not with us. We've always lived together. I know every time you cry, Su Xiao said. Since you knew, why didn't you come to comfort me? Han Miao Shuang reached out and pinched Su Xiaoxiao's hand. I'm not your senior brother. What's the point of comforting you? Su Xiao said. All right, it really wouldn't be of much use. But it was better than nothing. Especially since she felt that she hid it well. She didn't expect Su Xiaoxiao to know from the beginning. Qin Yi came out because Su Xiaoxiao succeeded in enlightenment. He suddenly felt the change in little 7. His expression changed slightly and he went back in. Sima Yue happened to be standing not far from him. She frowned when she saw him in a hurry. Did something happen to little 7? In the tree hole, little 7 was moaning in pain. The white light that wrapped around her was sometimes strong and sometimes weak. Little 7? Qin Yi condensed his spiritual energy and injected it into the white light to replenish the energy she needed. Qin Yi. A weak voice was heard. It showed how uncomfortable little 7 was. Little 7, don't be afraid. You'll be fine. Qin Yi encouraged her while injecting his spiritual energy. You. Little 7 said twice and went silent again. Qin Yi was stunned. Then he disappeared from the spot. He came to the branches and grabbed Sima Yue's hand and brought her into the tree hole. Qin Yi, what are you doing? Sima Yue's hand hurt because of him. Seeing little 7 who was wrapped in white light, she ignored the pain and ran over. What's wrong with little 7? Why is her aura so unstable? She's evolving. Originally there was no problem. However, she has an old illness in her body. It suddenly consumed a lot of her energy. Now she doesn't have enough energy to evolve. Qin Yi said. He didn't think that little 7's body would have an old illness. He also didn't think that it would affect her evolution. He kept injecting his spiritual energy into her, but it didn't have much effect on little 7. Sima Yue took out all the pills and precious herbs from the spirit pagoda and injected them into little 7's body. However, it still wasn't enough. Damn it. Little 7's spiritual energy is draining too fast. We can't replenish it at all. She said anxiously. It's all my fault. I didn't check her body before letting her in. Qin Yi blamed himself. If he didn't let little 7 evolve, this wouldn't have happened. Qin Yi, it's not your fault. Little 7's voice rang out again. Even if she didn't evolve this time, the next time she evolved, something like this would still happen. What should we do? Sima Yue realized that little 7's spiritual energy was still draining and was extremely anxious. Power. She suddenly thought of the thunder spirit liquid that she obtained last time. Previously, she said that she would use it to nourish their bodies. However, she didn't have the chance to do so. Would it work if he used that? Now, she couldn't care less about whether it would be useful or not. She took out all the thunder spirit liquid and poured bottle after bottle onto little 7's body. The thunder spirit liquid slowly merged into little 7's body. It gave her a lot of spiritual energy. This made Qin Yi, who was at the side, shocked. Thunder spirit liquid? Little 7's spiritual energy was replenished a little. However, it wasn't enough for her to evolve. Furthermore, the spiritual energy was still draining quickly. Qin Yi saw that the thunder spirit liquid was useful and said, "The thunder spirit liquid is useful. Do you have any more?" "No more. I took out all that I had." Sima Yue said. "No more. What should we do?" If they didn't stop the spiritual energy from draining, Little Seven might not even be able to keep her life, let alone evolve. Little Seven, I didn't think that we would only be reunited for such a short time. I even said that I would protect you in the future. You have to protect yourself in the future. After Qingyi finished speaking, he retracted his hand and turned himself into a ball of golden essence. He slowly floated towards Little Seven. Little Seven knew what Qingyi wanted to do. She shouted, "Qingyi, don't do anything stupid. I won't accept you. You want to exchange a life for a life? I won't agree." Little Seven didn't accept it. Qingyi's spiritual energy couldn't enter the white light. "Little Seven, there's no more time. I can't watch you die in front of me again," Qingyi shouted. Sima Yue's heart subconsciously shrank. Die again? Little Seven had died once before? "Qingyi, I won't agree. I have other ways." Little Seven's voice was weak but her attitude was firm. This book came from Book and Book #web. Chapter 11-14. Read 336. Qingyi stopped and looked at Little Seven, waiting for her to tell him her plan. If that didn't work, he would still use his own method. He had already lived for hundreds of thousands of years, so he no longer had any attachment to life. If he could exchange it for Little Seven's life, he was willing to do it. "Little Seven, do you have any ideas?" "Contract." Little Seven's voice was soft but it made Sima Yue tremble. She wanted him to make a contract with her. "No, there must be another way," Sima Yue said. "Yu, I know that even if I form a contract with you, you won't treat me as a contracted beast." Little Seven said, "Look at Little Roar, Little Rock, Hua Hua and Little Meng. You treat them like your own family. You did not treat them as your servants, your accessories. You treated each of them well. I believe that even if I form a contract with you, it won't do me any harm. On the contrary, because of my identity, I will definitely bring you trouble. I won't let Qingyi exchange her life for his. Other than this, there's no other way. Yu, if you're worried that I'll bring you trouble, then don't sign the contract." "I won't say anything, Sima Yue's tears rolled down her cheeks. She looked at Little Seven and shook her head continuously. She didn't know if she wanted Little Seven to stop talking or if she didn't want to form a contract with her. "Yu, I have never regretted meeting you." Little Seven's voice was intermittent. The energy from the Thunder Spirit liquid was almost depleted. "Qingyi, I'm sorry. I just gave you hope, but I have to disappoint you again. Is there a need for you to watch me leave?" The white light gradually dissipated, and they could see Little Seven's appearance clearly. She couldn't do it anymore. Sima Yue did not expect Little Seven to become like this when she hesitated for a moment. "No. Shaoqi, I won't let you die." She bit her finger and drew a pentagram on Little Seven's body. She quickly chanted, "Time is endless, space is endless, life is endless. Time is endless, space is endless, and life is endless. Heavenly Tao, lend me your strength." 12 golden words flew out of her body and circled around her and Little Seven. Then they entered Little Seven's body and flew out again, returning to Sima Yue's body. Dong, the heartbeat sounded again. It was so weak, but it was caught by Qingyi and Sima Yue. Sima Yue was overjoyed. She placed her hand on Little Seven's root and said, "With my blood, I will merge with your body. From now on, we will be connected by blood and live and die together. The God of heaven above, overlooking all living things, established the contract, never leaving. Little Seven, are you willing to form a contract with me?" Silence. Sima Yue panicked and repeated herself, "With my blood, I will merge with your body. From now on, we will be connected by blood and live and die together. The God of heaven above, overlooking all living things, established the contract, never leaving. Little Seven, are you willing to form a contract with me?" There was still silence. Seven didn't say anything after the time limit of the contract passed. Sima Yue was so anxious that tears fell from her eyes. Every contract had 3 chances and they had already wasted 2 chances. If the last time was the same, she and Little Seven wouldn't be able to form a contract today. "With my blood, I will merge with your body. From now on, we will be connected by blood and live and die together. The God of heaven above, overlooking all living things, established the contract, never leaving. Little Seven, are you willing to form a contract with me?" After asking for the last time, Little Seven was still silent. This made Sima Yue almost break down. Am I willing?" At the last moment, Little Seven's weak voice sounded. The light of the contract enveloped both of them. Sima Yue felt that there was an additional layer of contract between her and Little Seven. Then she felt an endless amount of energy entering her body. Sima Yue sat on the ground, her tears still flowing out. But this time the tears were tears of joy. Qing Yi turned into his human form and looked at Sima Yue, who was crying in the ruins. He thought that this was probably the first time in history that someone cried like this during a contract. Before Sima Yue could wipe her tears, she felt a surge of energy entering her body. The contract gave back her energy. If she didn't guide the energy properly, she would be the one in trouble. She quickly sat cross-legged and guided the energy so that it wouldn't crash around in her body. Very quickly, the light of advancement enveloped her. One advanced and the other evolved. Luckily both of them were fine. He looked at Sima Yue's calm face and thought about what happened just now. Initially, she didn't want to form a contract with Little Seven. Just like what she said before, she wouldn't make use of Little Seven. After forming a contract, Little Seven would be at her mercy. She rejected Little Seven's request, but she didn't expect Little Seven to suddenly lose all signs of life. At this moment she was regretful and sad, but she didn't panic. This was the first time she used the power of Tao to save someone. She injected the energy of life into Little Seven's body, allowing her to come back to life. Her decisiveness and intelligence weren't something that ordinary people could compare to. Now, after experiencing great sadness and joy, she was able to quickly enter a state of cultivation and absorb the energy brought to her by the contract. This left a good impression on him. Little Seven's evolution this time was very good. The contract healed her old illness and at the same time gave her the energy she needed for the future. It could be said that her evolution this time was no longer a problem. Sima Yue had advanced by a large level, allowing her to jump from a mid-level God Emperor to a mid-level God Venerable. Moreover, she hadn't fully absorbed the energy of the contract. The Spirit Pagoda helped her to store a portion of the energy, so she didn't advance too quickly. Qing Yi naturally saw her suppression. When he saw her open her eyes, he wanted to say something but was immediately interrupted. "Quickly bring me out, the further the better." Sima Yue stood up and grabbed his hand. Qing Yi didn't know why she made such a request, but once he sensed the situation outside, his face instantly darkened. If you asked him what he was most afraid of, one would be the sovereign flame, and the other would be the lightning tribulation. If it was a normal lightning tribulation it would be fine. But that wasn't the case for the black tribulation clouds. This fellow's advancement actually attracted lightning tribulation. Han Miao Shuang, Su Xiao Xiao and the others were outside. When they saw the sky suddenly turn dark, they shouted, "Little junior sister advanced?" Those outside didn't know the situation. When they saw the tribulation clouds, they thought that someone had violated the heavenly Tao and was about to be punished. Han Miao Shuang and the others only saw a blur in front of their eyes. A piece of paper wrapped around Sima Yue and flew far away. The speed almost caused sparks to appear on her clothes. Sima Yue moved, and the tribulation clouds moved with her. It chased Sima Yue into the forest on the other side of the mountain. Some people had never seen such a huge lightning tribulation. They ran over to take a look. When they saw that Sima Yue was undergoing the tribulation, especially when they saw that Sima Yue didn't avoid the tribulation clouds, but faced it head-on, their jaws almost dropped to the ground. This book came from the book in book #web. Chapter 11:15. Read 336. I heard that Sima Yue would be struck by lightning every time she advances, someone said. That seems to be the case. Someone from the academy once said that. She'll be struck every time she advances. Doesn't that mean she's been struck many times already? I remember that time in the dark forest. We lost a lot of monarch-level experts. Who asked those people to force her? Isn't this kicking an iron plate? That's right. Do you think Sima Yue is a pushover? Look at the aura of this lightning tribulation. Which one of you can withstand it? Just this point alone is enough to look down on all living things. Goddess? My goddess. Go away, she's my goddess. It's clearly mine. Go away. She's my goddess. Humph, do you dare to walk up to her and call her your goddess? Do you dare? I don't dare. Do you? I dare in my dreams. Tisk. Sima Yue, who was in the middle of her tribulation, did not know that she had become a goddess. She only knew that the power of faith in her body had increased by a little. F***CK, who's trying to kill me? She couldn't help but complain. Now that she had to deal with this lightning tribulation, it was enough for her to drink a pot of water. If the power of faith was not content, she would probably be struck down by lightning. Pa! Another bolt of lightning struck her body, causing her to grimace in pain. At this moment she missed Cloud Spirit. Although that little guy could also hack, he would show mercy. He wondered if this tribulation cloud had anything to do with the cloud spirit. If it recognized it, could it give him a discount? The onlookers trembled when they saw the thick lightning bolt strike her body. If the lightning struck them, they probably wouldn't be able to withstand it even once. On the other hand, Sima Yue seemed fine except for her pained expression. Only Sima Yue knew that if it wasn't for the purple lightning in her dantian, she would have died a long time ago. The lightning tribulation above the tribulation cloud was also depressed. Such a powerful lightning bolt was actually unable to strike a small human to death. If word got out, it would be too shameful. Therefore, it began to strike several lightning bolts at the same time, but it failed to kill Sima Yue no matter how many lightning bolts it released. Cough, cough. Sima Yue was lying on the ground. Her long hair was naturally curled. If she wanted to have a curly hairstyle in the future, she would not need to specially do her hair. Leveling up too many times is really inhumane. She tried her best to stand up, rejoicing that this set of clothes was specially made for her by Fatty Chu to protect her from lightning. Otherwise, she would be completely exposed today. Cough, cough. She coughed twice and spat out a puff of black smoke. She didn't need to look to know what she looked like. Hey, you want to die? If you don't come out from there, I will be struck to death, she said to the little fellow that was swimming happily in her dantian. The purple lightning had just eaten a lot of lightning bolts and was in a good mood. Its attitude towards Sima Yue was also much better. Seeing that she was indeed in a miserable state, it slowly climbed up from the dantian and climbed up to sit on top of her head. What is that thing? The people outside looked at the purple lightning and exclaimed. I don't know. Is it her contracted beast? It doesn't look like a spirit beast. Pa! Another lightning tribulation struck. This time, Sima Yue did not move. She just stood at the same spot and watched as the lightning bolts were all swallowed by little purple. Did you guys see that? That lightning was eaten by that thing on top of her head? Did I see wrongly? No, I saw it too. What exactly is that thing? It actually ate the lightning tribulation. I don't know, but one look and I can tell that it's very powerful. That thing seems to have come out from her body, right? No wonder she is not afraid of the lightning tribulation at all and dares to resist it. When the lightning tribulation saw the purple lightning below, its body trembled and it almost fell from the cloud. Purple lightning tribulation? How could there be purple lightning in this person's body? No wonder no matter how many lightning bolts it released, it could not kill her. It was simply feeding the purple lightning tribulation. The purple lightning tribulation sat on top of Sima Yue's head. It had eaten all the lightning bolts that struck down just now. It was just a shapeless thing, but the lightning tribulation seemed to see it licking its lips and looking at it with shining eyes, as if waiting for it to continue feeding it lightning bolts. The lightning tribulation was depressed. No matter how many lightning bolts it struck, it was meaningless. The harder it struck, the happier the purple lightning tribulation was. Therefore, it just dealt with the remaining lightning bolts hastily and left with its tribulation cloud. Sigh, after so many years, it finally found a person that it could strike, but in the end she was still like this. It felt that it was injured, a very, very serious internal injury. Sima Yue looked at the weak look behind the tribulation cloud and could almost imagine the shadow in its heart. She stretched out her hand to grab the purple lightning tribulation, but the little fellow went back into her body and did not let her grab it. Sima Yue pursed her lips. This fellow was really arrogant. It just did not want her to grab it. The surrounding trees were all implicated by her. The lightning tribulation had created a 1-kilometer wide vacuum. She felt a little apologetic. These were already ordinary trees. Now they were struck by lightning because of her. Sima Yue, you're so awesome. Goddess, you're my goddess. Yue, can I join you? Sima Yue was surrounded by those people. Every one of them was expressing their admiration for her, which increased the power of faith in her body. She groaned in her heart. She really did not need these people's faith. She tried her best to squeeze past them, wanting to return to Qingyi. As long as she was inside the enchantment, these people would not be able to surround her. She nodded her head and dealt with these people as she walked towards the mountain. However, when she crossed the mountain and stood at the top of the mountain, she was stunned by the scene in front of her. Not only her but the others were stunned too. A group of petrified people stood on the mountain ridge, forming a unique scenery. How did this happen? When did this happen? It's gone? It's gone just like that? He knows how to run away. Are we sure that he only went to see Sima Yue undergo the lightning tribulation? He didn't do anything else? How did he disappear just after turning around? Sima Yue looked at the boundless grassland and pursed her lips. She only went to undergo the lightning tribulation. Why did Qing Yi and her seniors disappear when she returned? Did they run away? Even if they ran away, they should have brought her along. A bunch of heartless people. She cursed in her heart. However, if they really waited for her to return before running away, they probably would not have been able to leave. This book came from the website. Chapter 11:16. By the time those people reacted and wanted to talk to Sima Yue, they realized that she had left too. In order to not let them stop her, she used teleportation. In a few flashes, she was already far away from them. Teleport. This was something that only array masters or monarch-level experts could do. I didn't expect her to know it too. Someone shouted. What's so surprising about that? My goddess knows everything. That's right. Her strength hasn't reached the monarch rank, which means that she's an array master. She's number 1 in the pill competition. I didn't expect her array formations to be so powerful as well. My goddess is really omnipotent. Alright, don't look so smitten. He's already gone. Sigh, the goddess has left just like that. Alright, it's useless for you to sigh. There's nothing left here. Let's go take a look at the ruins. Weren't the people of Heartbreak Valley still in the ruins? Maybe Sima Yue will go to the ruins to look for them. Yeah. Let's hurry up and find the ruins. When they heard that Sima Yue might go to the historical remains, many of them flew towards the historical remains. Soon there was no one left on the grassland. Looking at the peaceful grassland, Sima Yue and Han Miao Shuang sat on Qing Yi's tree trunk and wiped their non-existent sweat. At this moment, the Tree of Life was still in the same place, but it was hidden by Qing Yi's magic power. Qing Yi, why are we doing this? Han Miao Shuang asked. To get rid of these people. You almost fooled me too. Sima Yue said, if I didn't sense that Little Seven was still here, I would have gone far away. How is Little Seven now? Very good. It's almost done evolving. Qing Yi said. That's right, junior sister, what happened just now? How did you suddenly rise by so many levels? What happened to Little Seven? Han Miao Shuang asked with concern. There was a problem with Little Seven's evolution, so I made a contract with her. The power of my advancement was given by the contract. Sima Yue didn't mention how dangerous the situation was. She just explained it briefly. Even so, Su Xiao and Han Miao Shuang could guess how dangerous the situation was. It wouldn't be solved with the contract because of Sima Yue and Little Seven. It's good that she's fine now. Han Miao Shuang patted her shoulder. I'll go wash up. Although she wasn't seriously injured, she had been struck by lightning and was rolling on the ground. She was in a terrible state. Are you going to dress as a woman in the future? Han Miao Shuang asked. Sima Yue tugged at her skirt and said, let's wear female clothes. To be. All right. Han Miao Shuang held her hands and smiled, you're a girl. It's better to be in female clothes. After those people left, Qing Yi was finally able to live a peaceful life. Although there would be people coming in every time the immortal land opened, and he didn't care about it. But with Little Seven around, he had no patience for those people. I'll go take a look at Little Seven. Sima Yue said to Qing Yi. Qing Yi waved his hand and she appeared in Tree D where Little Seven was. Little Seven was almost done with her evolution. Sima Yue sat beside her. She wanted to reach out and touch her, but she was afraid to disturb her evolution. She still remembered Qing Yi's anxious look at that time. She remembered him saying that she had already died once. You've known each other for hundreds of thousands of years. Then Little Seven, have you lived for hundreds of thousands of years? She thought to herself, but your memory is less than 10,000 years. Is it related to the time you died? Why did she and her contract beast have such a painful past? She bore the grudge of her clan's extermination in her past life. Little Dream was the same as her. She didn't expect the carefree Little Seven to have an unknown past. Just as she was staring at Little Seven in a daze, Little Seven transformed into her human form. She pounced on her and pushed her to the ground. After evolving again, her body grew a lot. She already looked like a teenage girl. The danger of evolution didn't affect her good mood. Her eyes were full of smiles. You're done evolving? Sima Yue was happy to see her wake up. I've been done for a while. But you've been in a daze and didn't pay attention to me. Little Seven pouted. Really? Sima Yue smiled. Why is your personality still the same even after growing so much? Let me up first. Oh. Little Seven giggled. Say, if Brother Lingyu finds out that you're so easy to push down, will he be happy? Sima Yue's face darkened. This little girl. How's your body? Do you feel uncomfortable anywhere? Is your hidden injury healed? She asked. Speaking of the past, little Seven got down from Sima Yue's body and said, the hidden injury was healed when we made the contract. It won't happen again in the future. What did Qingyi mean by what he said? What's up with you guys knowing each other for hundreds of thousands of years? Don't you only have less than 10,000 years of memory? What's up with dying once? Sima Yue asked after making sure that she was fine. Qingyi came to their side and looked at them. Little Seven glanced at Qingyi and said, Qingyi and I have known each other for hundreds of thousands of years. Qingyi leaned on his tree trunk. His eyes were filled with pain. Qingyi and I are companions. We're plants that grew together. Little Seven said, speaking of which, I'm quite lucky. At that time there weren't as few earth eyes as there are now. But I'm the only one that grew together with the banyan tree. You guys are companions. That means you're childhood sweethearts? Sima Yue said. No wonder Han Miao Shuang said that Qingyi treated them differently. There was a reason behind it. She guessed that it had something to do with Little Seven. That wasn't wrong. But she didn't expect them to have such a relationship. Little Seven nodded and continued, I evolved earlier than Qingyi. When I became a mature Earth Eye, he was still a small green tree. After that, I was captured by someone to help someone break through to the monarch level. My spirit energy was sucked dry by him. But it wasn't enough. He sucked my life force dry too. Luckily, I managed to protect a little bit of my life force at the last moment. That's why I didn't die completely. It's all my fault. I didn't protect you well. Qingyi blamed himself and said, I said that I would protect you. But I watched as you were captured and sucked dry by them. They threw you in an unknown place to be battered by the wind and rain for hundreds of thousands of years. Chapter 11-17. CPA 300_4. Seeing Qingyi blaming himself, Little Seven got up and came to his side. She held his hand and said, Qingyi, I've never blamed you. Don't blame yourself. Although it was very painful at that time, it's all in the past. I'm living very well now. You know, I'm living very happily now. Qingyi looked at Sima Yue gratefully. He knew that it was because of her that Little Seven was so happy. However, this did not change the fact that he blamed himself. And then? Sima Yue asked, even if you don't have any signs of life, your flesh is a great supplement for humans. How did you survive? The last thing I heard was someone attacking the sect. As for how they managed to survive, I have no idea. Little Seven said, but that's not important. There's no way to verify what happened in the past, no way to take revenge. Just let it be. I'm a brand new me now. Sima Yue smiled. She was not as open-minded as Little Seven. But it was also true. After hundreds of thousands of years, things had changed. Those people must have died long ago. Even if they wanted to take revenge, they wouldn't be able to find the target of revenge. It was better to let those things go and give himself a carefree future. However, when I left, Qingyi was still a dendrobium tree. When we met again, he had already evolved into a true tree of life. Little Seven hugged Qingyi's arm and leaned her head on his shoulder, full of attachment. Now that you're so strong, you have to protect me in the future. Yes. Qingyi replied. There were no superfluous words, no flowery words, no earth-shattering vows, but Little Seven knew that he would use his actions to prove it. Sima Yue looked at Little Seven's adorable face and thought about how she always said that she wanted to beat people up for no reason. She smiled. She was very happy that Little Seven had found someone she could rely on, even though this happiness came so suddenly. If she was like this in the future, she wouldn't have to worry about Little Seven being too violent. However, she seemed to have thought too early. Because, oh right, Qingyi, are there a lot of people out there who have designs on you? Let's go out and take care of them. It's a good opportunity to see how strong I am after my evolution. Little Seven said as she pulled Qingyi out. Sima Yue sat on the ground, looking defeated. She sighed in her heart. Indeed, it was easier to change a leopard than to change its spots. Qingyi was already used to the current Little Seven. He patted her head and said, those people have already left, there's no one outside now. They all left? How can he be so fast? Fortunately, they all left. Otherwise, they would have been beaten up by you. Sima Yue snorted in her heart. Now, we just have to wait for eldest senior brother and the other two to come out. When they come out, we will go find Feng and the others. She stood up and said, they have already come out. Qingyi said, I came down just now to tell you about this. Sima Yue blinked. They were so fast? Not everyone can comprehend the Tao here. However, the things they obtained were not bad. Alright, she thought that everything was fine. Let's go then. Qingyi, you said that you would leave with me. Little Seven shook Qingyi's hand. Qingyi nodded, then said to Sima Yue, I will plant the source in the spirit pagoda. Sima Yue nodded and brought them into the spirit pagoda. Before she comprehended the Tao, she was still thinking if she could seduce Qingyi to leave with them. She didn't expect Little Seven to settle this matter so quickly. Qingyi went to choose a spacious area, then opened his right hand. A miniature version of the tree of life appeared in his palm. He planted the small seed in the soil. That tree grew at a speed visible to the naked eye. Soon it was the same size as the tree outside. It's done. Little Seven moved her original body over and planted it next to Qingyi's tree. This way the two of them could be together forever. This is the legendary tree of life. Thousand Resonance looked at the tree of life excitedly. In his inheritance, the tree of life was unreachable. He didn't expect it to appear in front of them. Ayaya, then can we cultivate here in the future? Ye Guang asked. Of course you can. Little Seven held Qingyi's hand and looked up at him. Qingyi, is there a problem? Qingyi was already used to the silence and solitude. He didn't really like having people around him. But Little Seven had already agreed. He didn't want her to be unhappy. And he could tell that Little Seven liked them a lot. Since that was the case, he would slowly get used to it. Qiyan suddenly appeared and looked at Qingyi. I want your 10,000-year essence. Qingyi looked at Qiyan and said, the divine vermilion bird actually suffered such a serious injury. Give me the 10,000-year essence. I can give you something in exchange. Qiyan said. I don't have anything I want. Qingyi shook his head. He didn't have any desires. Now he only had one request, and that was Little Seven. So, Qiyan didn't have anything that could attract him. Sima Yue always knew that Qiyan was injured, but she didn't expect it to be so serious. She thought that he was already quite injured. If even Qingyi said that it was serious, then how serious was his injury? But Qiyan never asked for anything. This time he directly asked Qingyi for it. It meant that the thing was very important to him. Qingyi, can you help Qiyan? She was a little embarrassed. It seemed like she asked him to come in for something. But Qiyan's health was very important, so she had to ask. Qingyi. Little Seven shook Qingyi's hand and looked at him with a smile. Her meaning was self-evident. Qingyi shook his head helplessly. Why did he have a feeling that a grown girl couldn't be kept at home? But as long as she was happy. Anyway, he would keep this thing anyway. It wasn't of much use to him. Only, like animals to their skins and birds to their feathers, which they do not allow others to touch, they have a different feeling for their own things. A golden branch flew down from the tree and landed in Qiyan's hand. For you. Qiyan caught the branch and could feel the vigorous vitality flowing inside. In the future, you can rest on my tree, Qingyi said. And? Sima Yue and the others didn't understand. The phoenix perches on the parasol tree, the sparrow perches on the tree. Qiyan said. This sparrow was referring to the divine vermilion bird. Okay. Little Seven replied, but Qiyan, you can't poop on my head. Everyone was speechless. Little Seven was too. Little Seven didn't care. In the past, there was a bird that landed on Qingyi and pooped on her head. She would always remember how she felt at that time. From then on, she hated those birds that pooped on trees. Chapter 11:18. Crimson Flame ignored Little Seven and thanked Qingyi. Then he took his essence and flew to the tree crown. Sima Yue looked at the tree of life and thought of the phrase, Phoenix perches on the parasol tree, sparrows perch on the tree. She wondered if Rainbow and the rest came in. She wondered how Feng'er and the rest were doing. Alright, since we've settled down, let's go outside. Little Seven felt that Sima Yue was worried about Shimen Feng and said, Sima Yue brought them to the tree hole and Qingyi brought them out. Han Miao Shuang and the rest were waiting outside. When they came out, they flew to them and said, Little Seven, you evolved successfully? I said something happened to you before. Are you okay now? No, I'm fine. Little Seven said. Han Miao Shuang touched Little Seven's head and sighed. Little Seven has grown so big. She's a big girl now. Little Seven slapped her hand away. You sound like an old woman. So you think you're old? Oh, how can I be old? I'm forever 16. Han Miao Shuang said with her chin raised. Yes, you'll always be a little girl. Little Seven giggled, but whether you're old or young, it's all the same in his heart. After speaking, she even raised her chin at Jianghu. Alright, you've grown up. Your bad heart has also grown up. See how I'll deal with you. Han Miao Shuang said and went to hit Little Seven. Little Seven ran towards Jianghu. When Han Miao Shuang was about to grab her, her figure flashed and hid behind him. Han Miao Shuang immediately jumped into his arms. Alright, Little Seven is like this. Why are you fighting with her? Jianghu held onto Han Miao Shuang's waist and said softly. Han Miao Shuang's face flushed red. She came out from his arms and said, help me catch her. She dares to laugh at me. I'll teach her a lesson today. Little Seven flew between Sima Yue and Qing Yi and said, you found a helper. I also found a helper. You have one, I have two. Han Miao Shuang saw her holding onto Qing Yi's hand and scoffed, you're good. Little Seven smiled proudly. Alright, since everyone is out, let's go to the ruins. Feng, and the others are still inside. I'm a little worried and want to take a look. Sima Yue said, then looked at Shi Shuang and asked, what about you guys? Shi Shuang looked at Shi Qianji and Jianghu. She hesitated and said, we also want to go to the ruins to take a look. Why don't we go together? We'll split up after we leave this island. Alright. It's dangerous for both of you to walk on this island. Sima Yue said. Qing Yi, quickly begin. Once you're done we'll leave. Little Seven let go of Qing Yi. Qing Yi nodded and let everyone leave. He flew into the air and waved his hand. Specks of golden light scattered from his hand and enveloped the entire tree of life. What is he trying to do? Han Miao Shuang asked. He wants to keep the tree. Little Seven said. Why did you put it away? Take him away. Qing Yi wants to go with us. Little Seven said. What? He's coming with us. That's right. Why are you so surprised? Little Seven saw that Han Miao Shuang was stuttering and covered her mouth as she laughed. Who told you to bully me? Now I'll let you be surprised. Sima Yue, who felt her thoughts, couldn't help but twitch her mouth. When did this little guy get bullied? She was the one who bullied others in the past. Why does he want to go with us? Shi Qianji and the others were stuttering. Qing Yi shrunk the tree of life slowly and finally flew into his hand. Alright. Little Seven flew over and came to his side. Qing Yi opened his palm and a small tree of life laid in the middle. Why is your incarnation so cute? Little Seven saw the pocket-sized tree of life and said in surprise. Do you like it? Qing Yi asked. So cute. It's much better than mine. Little Seven said. Can you wear it if you like it? Qing Yi took out a green rope from nowhere and rubbed it on the tree of life. The green rope passed through the tip of the tree and he pressed it with both hands and the tree of life became a small pendant. He leaned over and put it on for Little Seven and whispered in her ear, you have to bring it wherever you go, okay? Little Seven touched the little tree in front of her chest and nodded subconsciously when she heard his gentle words. Good girl. Qing Yi kissed Little Seven's forehead. Oh my god, is this what it means for the two of them to be together? Shi Qianji and the others rubbed their eyes hard. Not only did Qing Yi want to leave with them, he even wanted to be with Little Seven. What was wrong with this world? Only Little Seven laughed and shook her head. Little Seven was going to flip out. As expected, Qing Yi, why are you so annoying? You actually treat me like a child. Little Seven punched Qing Yi's shoulder but didn't use much strength. Wasn't the phrase good boy meant for a child? Hee. Qing Yi grabbed her hand and laughed in satisfaction. Oh my god, this is completely different from the tree of life from before. Shi Shuang muttered. Although Qing Yi had only killed one person, everyone could feel his indifference and alienation. And this person who was smiling so warmly, was he still the same person from before? Let's go. Sima Yue waved to Little Seven and the others, called out Chongming and flew up. Do you know where the historical remains are? Qing Yi let go of Little Seven and held her hand instead. I have their direction. Sima Yue took out the scroll and frowned. What's wrong, junior brother? Sima Yue waved her hand on the scroll and the image of the scroll was projected in the air. We can't find Feng and the others. Sima Yue said. Han Miao Shuang and the others looked through the entire image and didn't see Shimin Feng and the others. Qing Yi brought Little Seven and flew over. He glanced at the scroll and said, if it's inside the restriction, it won't show up here. Then let's go to the historical remains to take a look. Sima Yue said. Qing Yi, you've been here for so long. Do you know where the historical remains are? Little Seven asked. Qing Yi nodded. He indeed knew where it was. I'll bring you there. He casually drew a circle in the air and a faint golden light circle was formed. Let's go in. Sima Yue glanced at Qing Yi and flew into the light circle first. Then Han Miao Shuang and Jiang Junxian flew in, followed by Su Xiaoxiao and the others. After they all went in, Qing Yi held Little Seven's hand and went in. Everyone thought that he would bring them through the air, but they didn't expect that after Qing Yi entered, the light circle brought them underground. Then it sped towards a direction. Along the way, if they encountered tree roots, those tree roots would give way in advance. Chapter 11-19. Little Seven sat beside Qing Yi, looking at the dark surroundings. She asked, Qing Yi, why don't we walk by air or underground? Sometimes the space looks the same, but there are distortions. We may look like we are walking straight, but we might go astray. Qing Yi explained, also, I'm more familiar with the land, I'll know where we are if we walk underground. I see. Everyone's doubts were solved, they didn't expect there to be such a thing. Others didn't know, but Sima Yue understood. It was definitely not easy to find the remains of an emperor, it was a piece of cake for them to make some changes in space. She estimated that they traveled underground for 5 to 6 days before Qing Yi brought them back to land. He waved his hand and the light circle disappeared. Is this the remains? They looked around, there wasn't a single person. We're outside the remains, there are restrictions in the remains, it'll be dangerous if we continue walking. Qing Yi said. Sima Yue looked around, the flowers were still lush, there weren't any traces of being stepped on, which meant that no one came here recently. Han Miao Shuang and the others also noticed this and said, no one came here before, is this really outside the remains? The aura is right. Qing Yi didn't say anything after he finished speaking, he stood quietly at the side. He brought them here, but it didn't mean that he would always help them. He couldn't help them for everything, he said before, unless Little Seven's life was in danger, he wouldn't do anything else. Sima Yue knew this too, so she was very grateful that Qing Yi brought them here. The remains are so big, it's impossible to find every place. She said, I'll let the bees observe the environment here. She called out a few hundred scarlet bees and let them fly around, a few of them flew into the restrictions by mistake and lost contact immediately. Such a strong restriction. Sima Yue gasped. What's wrong? That restriction can actually break the contract. Sima Yue said, maybe it's because the bees and the queen bee have a master-slave contract, it's one to many, it can break the contract, which means that it's very strong. As expected of an imperial emperor. Even though it's just a ruin, it's still so powerful. Shi Qianji sighed. If we can get his things or inheritance, that would be great. Han Miao Shuang said. There's actually nothing here. Qing Yi suddenly said, the immortal realm has been opened many times, and the things inside have all been taken away. You know that too? Many people have come here in the past, so I've heard about what they obtained. But this ruin is so big, it can't be that everything was taken away, right? There might be some that slipped through the net. Shi Qianji said. There are many people who are stronger than you. Although Qing Yi's words were not pleasant to hear, it was the truth. Are they all that powerful? I don't think those people are much. The immortal realm doesn't only open in this realm. The people from other places are much stronger than your realm. Qing Yi said. However, these people were much more talented in comprehending the Tao than people from other places. Other realms? This world isn't just limited to this place. The entire world is infinitely big. Even I don't know how many there are. Qing Yi said. No problem, I'll bring you around the world in the future. Little Seven said with a smile. All right. Qing Yi smiled, making Little Seven dazed. They looked for the entrance while waiting. After more than a day, the scarlet bees finally sent back news. Sima Yue summarized their information and said, we're now in the east of the ruin, which is the closest to where Feng Er and the others went missing. It said that this place has the most powerful restrictions, so very few people come here. That's good, no one will steal our things. Little Seven said. If we want to go in, we have to break these restrictions first. Shi Qianji said, the more powerful it is, the harder it is to break. This shouldn't be difficult, right? Little Seven didn't know much about making these things, but she knew from Sima Yue and the others' expressions that it shouldn't be easy. And Jiang Junxian, Han Ming Xiang, and Su Xiaoxiao were alchemists. Shi Qianji was an alchemist and poison master, and Shi Qiushuang wasn't a professional master, so they weren't good at making these things. And Little Seven, she couldn't count on her. So Yue had to solve these restrictions herself. But, Yue, have you solved this restriction before? No. Sima Yue's words almost made everyone choke on their own saliva, But this restriction is similar to enchantments and arrays, so it shouldn't be that difficult, right? Maybe. But, in the end, you've been studying for a few days but you still haven't found a way. Little Seven squatted beside Sima Yue and looked at her drawing on the ground. Oh. Sima Yue threw away the branch in her hand and sighed. Although this restriction is similar to those, I can't find a way at all. Even you can't do it, so how did they get in? Little Seven asked. No one in Heartbreak Valley seems to know how to break this restriction, right? No, but what? Sima Yue thought of someone. Before she came in, she called Shimin Li out to join everyone. After Shimin Feng left, Shimin Li followed him. Maybe this restriction was opened by the thing in her body. She didn't know why, but she felt that this possibility was very high, and this was the only reason she could think of, that Shimin Feng and the rest could enter without breaking the restriction. Then what do we do now? Let's find a place to enter the historical remains first, Sima Yue said. If this place didn't work, then they would go in from another place. Maybe they would find another way inside. Okay. They took a detour for 2 days and came to a mountain near the south. The restriction here had been broken by someone before. There were more people here and they met people very quickly. Fortunately, Qing Yi had changed his appearance before those people came, or else he would have been recognized. But even so, Sima Yue and Han Miao Shuang's appearance here caused quite a commotion. Very quickly, many people inside and outside the historical remains knew that she was here. Sima Yue would be surrounded by people everywhere she went, and now she finally understood how those famous people felt. Unfortunately, she didn't like this kind of treatment. But this also brought her a benefit. Those people knew that she was looking for people from Heartbreak Valley, and those who knew some clues told her, letting her know a lot about Shimin Feng and the rest. At the same time, it also confirmed her guess. The people from Heartbreak Valley could enter without breaking the restriction. It was indeed related to the thing in Shimin Li's body. Chapter 11:20. The person who told her the news said that at that time, Shimin Feng and the others were blocked outside by the restriction. They had originally planned to leave, but a woman said to Shimin Feng, "Second brother, there are treasures inside. I can bring you in." The only one who could call Shimin Feng's second brother was Shimin Li. Shimin Li's biggest secret was the dough ball in her body. That dough cherished its life very much. Now that it was connected to Shimin Li's life and death, it would not joke around with her life. From this point of view, Shimin Feng and the others' lives were not in danger now. After confirming this point, Sima Yu's heart was more or less relieved. They began to search the ruins to see if they could pick up any scraps. However, after circling around outside, they found that the people who came here before were like locusts passing through, sweeping the place clean. Just when they were about to leave, Sima Yue suddenly felt that the Sun Mother stone she gave to Shimin Feng sent out a ripple, as if it was asking them for help. "Something happened to Feng she said to the person beside her. "How did you know? Weren't they unable to communicate with the outside world?" Sima Yue took out the Mother-Sun stone, and the energy waves had yet to dissipate. Feng and the others have been in there for so long, they must know that they can't communicate with the outside world. If something hadn't happened, he definitely wouldn't have used the Sun Mother stone to contact me. Although it was only for a moment, it was a signal for help from him. This place is not far from where they entered. Let's hurry over and take a look, Jiang Junxian said. Yes. They ran all the way to the east and arrived at the place where Shimin Feng and the others disappeared. They discovered that the space here was fluctuating. Someone is breaking the restriction, Han Miao Shuang said. Let's go and take a look. They turned around the canyon and saw a huge courtyard. A group of people was waiting outside. They didn't attack the restriction, Han Miao Shuang said softly. Someone should be coming out. Sima Yue said, let's see who it is. The restrictions here were not destroyed, which meant that there was another person who could ignore restrictions. Looking at the clothes of the people outside, she could roughly guess who was inside. After a while, Xianqiu he came out from the courtyard. He immediately sensed Sima Yue's aura and looked in her direction. Young master. The people of Xianqiu clan surrounded him. Young master, did you succeed? Young master inside. Xianqiu he raised his hand to silence them. Only then did everyone realize that he had been looking behind him. They looked back and finally noticed Sima Yu and the others in the distance. Xianqiu he patted the wheelchair and the wheelchair rose from the ground, landing not far away from Sima Yue and the rest. Sima Yue walked over and said, Xianqiu, I didn't expect you to be here too. When I heard that you were a girl, I was a little surprised. Xianqiu, he said, I didn't think that it was true. Sima Yue smiled and asked, did you get something good when you came out? Xianqiu, he did not hide it and replied, there are some inheritances inside. I was lucky enough to obtain one or two. Can you go inside directly? Sima Yue asked. Yes. Then any restriction will work. Xianqiu, he was a smart person. When he heard her question, he knew what she was thinking. You want to find your valley lord? He asked. Yes, I just received his request for help. There should be danger inside. Sima Yue said, can you help me go in? I can help you, but... Xianqiu, he hesitated. But what? I have something that can allow people to enter and exit the restriction at will. But only one person can use it. Even if I give it to you, you can only go in alone. Xianqiu, he said, but no one knows what's going on inside. There are so many people in Heartbreak Valley who need help. If you go in, it might not be useful. Instead, you will put yourself in danger. Please lend it to me. Sima Yue said, I have no problem. Have you thought about it? Sima Yue nodded and said, I have. Please help me. Xianqiu, he saw that her attitude was firm. He took out something that looked like a leaf, pulled her hand and placed it in her palm. I hope to see you come out. When Sima Yue touched the leaf, she felt comfortable all over and asked, what leaf is this? Bodhi leaf. This is the only one in the world. Xianqiu, he said. Bodhi leaf. Sima Yue was shocked. There really was a Bodhi tree in the world. Legend has it that comprehending Tao under the Bodhi tree could get twice the result with half the effort. Its effect was not inferior to the Tree of Life. However, the Bodhi tree comprehended Tao more related to Buddhism while the Tree of Life comprehended Tao more related to life. In the past, the Tree of Life and the Bodhi tree were legendary divine trees. Now that she had seen the Tree of Life, she didn't expect to see the Bodhi leaf again. She held the Bodhi leaf in her hand and said, I will come out. I will bring them out together. I owe you one. I already said that we are friends. Friends help each other when they see each other. There's no need to be calculative about this. Xianqiu, he said. Okay. She nodded. However, she didn't think that way. He didn't care, but she couldn't forget. The people from Heartbreak Valley are in the two valleys in front. Xianqiu, he said. How do you know? Xianqiu, he was slightly startled and said, when I came in, I heard that they were from your sect. So I asked someone to find out. Thank you. Sima Yue said gratefully. You're welcome. I'll bring you there. Then I'll have to trouble you. Xianqiu, he brought them around two corners and came to a valley. He said, it's here. Sima Yue looked around. The valley from the mountain top to the valley was covered in a thin layer of fog. She couldn't see what was going on inside at all. The restriction here is very powerful. It must be more dangerous inside. You have to be careful. If there's danger that you can't handle, escape. No matter what's inside, it won't be able to escape this restriction. As long as you bring it outside, it will be safe. Xianqiu, he said. I got it. Sima Yue nodded. Then, she turned around and said to Han Miao Shuang and the others, do you want to go to other places to take a look? Han Miao Shuang shook her head and said, we'll wait here for you to come out. At the same time, we'll think of a way to open this restriction. That's good too. Sima Yue said, Little Seven, I'm your contracted beast now. I definitely have to go in with you. Little Seven said, just wait for me here. The restriction is useless to me. Qingyi said. That meant that he wanted to go with Little Seven. After being separated for hundreds of thousands of years, he didn't want her to leave his sight, even for a minute. Chapter 11:21. With Qingyi's strength, no one would be worried about his safety. Since he was with Sima Yue, they felt more at ease. Although his intention was not to help Yue, if Yue died, Little Seven would die too. Hence, Qingyi would not let anything happen to Sima Yue. At most, he wouldn't interfere with the previous matters. Sima Yue kept Little Seven into the spirit pagoda. Then she took the Bodhi leaf and walked towards the valley with Qingyi. Sima Yue paused for a moment when she arrived at the restrictive formation. Then she strode in. Qingyi's footsteps did not change, as if the restriction did not exist to him at all. Xianqiu he and the people from the Xianqiu clan looked at Qingyi's back with a deep gaze. Once inside the restriction, the white fog disappeared. It seemed like the white fog could only be seen from the outside. She called Little Seven out, then took out the scroll and looked at it. She still didn't find the figures of Shimin Feng and the others. She frowned. Are they not here? However, Xianqiu he and the others said that they were here. He probably wouldn't lie to him. There are ripples in the depths. We will know once we head in. 7 said. Yes. Let's go take a look. Sima Yue kept the scroll. They walked all the way inside and saw some footprints in the valley. They were sure that someone had been here recently. As for whether or not they were from Heartbreak Valley, it was still uncertain. There's nothing here. Why did the doe in Lear's body ask them to come here? Little Seven held Qing Yi's hand and asked puzzledly. Sima Yue was also puzzled. Although there were some rare herbs in the valley, they were not particularly precious and were not very attractive. At the very least, Shimin Feng and the others, who knew that she had a little realm and a spirit pagoda, looked down on her. That doe ball had stayed in the spirit pagoda with Shimin Li before, so it knew how many medicinal herbs and treasures there were inside, so it definitely wouldn't come for these. However, as far as the eye could see, they didn't see any treasures here, nor did they see any fluctuations from rare treasures. What on earth had attracted that dumpling? There are restrictions in front. Little Seven pointed at the other end of the valley. This restriction was different from the one outside. The one outside had a thick layer of fog, but this one was transparent. If they hadn't felt the same fluctuation, they wouldn't have noticed it. There are many footprints here, Sima Yue said. They are messy in the mud, they should have stayed here before. Then let's go in and take a look. They should be inside. 7 said. Wait a minute. What's wrong, Qingyi? This restriction is stronger than the one outside. I don't know what is inside. After entering, don't leave my side. Qingyi reminded Little Seven. Qingyi, you don't have to worry about me. My strength isn't low now. Little Seven said. Qingyi looked at Little Seven and didn't say anything, silently expressing his thoughts. Little Seven's heart ached from his slightly melancholy gaze. She waved her hand and said, All right, I know. I will. Good. Go. Qingyi let go of Little Seven's hand. She pulled a long face and walked to Sima Yue's side. Seeing her smiling eyes, she pouted and said, If Brother Lingyu wakes up, you will be the same. But he hasn't woken up yet. Sima Yue smiled and said, All right, let's go in. She kept Little Seven into the spirit pagoda and then entered the restriction with Qingyi. The moment they entered, they immediately realized that this place was different. Ancient aura. Sima Yue exclaimed softly as she looked around in shock. Yu, let me out. Little Seven shouted in the spirit pagoda. You let us out too. Little Dream said. Sima Yue didn't expect to feel the ancient aura here. Her instincts told her that there was an unknown danger here. She thought for a moment and called Little Seven, Little Dream and Hua Hua out. The rest of the weaker ones stayed in the spirit pagoda. When Hua Hua came out and saw Qingyi, she was still a little scared. If it wasn't for Little Seven and Sima Yue giving her strength, she would have collapsed again. Hua Hua, you don't have to be afraid of Qingyi. With me here, he won't dare to bully you. Little Seven patted Hua Hua's shoulder and said. Hua Hua nodded and subconsciously swallowed her saliva. Qingyi glanced at Little Seven and Hua Hua. He didn't care about these little flower kings at all. This last, she was helping him while living off him. However, looking at the smile on her face, he felt that this was a good feeling. Although there was a sense of a strong woman and a weak man, it was negligible. You try and see if we can find their location here. Little Dream said. Let me see. Sima Yue took out the scroll. The information of Shimin Feng and some Heartbreak Valley disciples appeared on it. It meant that they were in the same restriction now. Over there. Before Sima Yue could speak, Little Seven spoke first. How did you? Before she could say the word, Sima Yue saw a few Heartbreak Valley disciples being chased by a few monsters. They ran past them not far away. The ones running at the front were Shurchin and Ine. In their panic, they seemed to have seen Sima Yue and thought that they were hallucinating. Why would Boss appear in this place? It must be because the spirit energy in his body was almost used up. He was too tired, that's why he was seeing things. Little Dream, Hua Hua, I'm leaving you guys. Sima Yue saw that the two spirit beasts were not weak. Her own strength was not enough, so she could only let Hua Hua and Little Dream go. You don't worry. Hua Hua and Little Dream flew over at the same time. Seeing that the two disciples behind them were about to be caught, Hua Hua waved her hand and a vine whip flew over quickly. It wrapped around them and pulled them to her side, allowing them to successfully escape from the poisonous mouth of the monsters. At the same time, another vine whip wrapped around one of the monsters. With a strong pull, the monster fell to the other monsters and knocked down the few beside it. The other monsters stopped. When they saw Little Dream and Hua Hua, they stopped chasing the Heartbreak Valley disciples and turned to attack them. Go to one side and stay there. Hua Hua threw the two people towards Sima Yue and the others. She waved her vine whip and attacked the spirit beasts. Little Dream flew in the air, her hands kept forming seals. Black roses flew out from her hands. Those black roses automatically dispersed when they got close to the monsters. Each petal pierced into the monster's body. An INE and the others stopped. When they saw Little Dream and Hua Hua, Sima Yue and Little Seven not far away, they immediately jumped up. That's great. We're saved. Boss is here to save us. Boss is here, we can finally get out. Finally, they did not have to go around in circles in despair. Chapter 11:22. Boss. Vice Valley Lord. They flew towards Sima Yue with tears in their eyes. Please search, Yenet, to see the most complete. When they saw Sima Yue they felt inexplicably relieved. They didn't know why, but when they saw her they felt hopeful. Although the current situation was very dangerous, although she was alone, they still believed that if she came, she would be able to bring them out. Boss Wu, you're finally here. If you don't come, you won't be able to see us again. An INE pulled on Sima Yue's clothes and cried loudly. However, other than crying there were no tears. Sima Yue was initially worried about them, but when she saw this clown she could not help but want to give him 2 tight slaps. Alright, stop howling. You're disturbing Hua Hua and Xiaoming from dealing with others. She slapped an INE's forehead and pushed him away. She looked at Shurchin and asked, Shurchin, why is it only you guys? Where are the others? We've been split up. Most of us are in a valley in front of us. We don't know where the rest of us are. But most of them are running around like us. Shurchin said. What's going on? Sima Yue frowned. Why are you here? There's such a dense ancient aura here. Is there something? According to what Yin Lin said, they shouldn't be in any danger. Why did they encounter such a dangerous situation after being separated for a short period of time? Those are all ancient spirit beasts. Shurchin said. They are all ancient spirit beasts? Why are there so many ancient spirit beasts? Little Seven asked. It should be left behind by that monarch. Qingyi said. Shurchin and the rest glanced at Qingyi. Towards this man whose strength they couldn't see clearly, a sense of respect rose from their hearts. At this time Xiaoming and Hua Hua finished off the monsters and flew back. You, it's done. Thank you for your hard work. Sima Yue said, now tell me what's going on. It's like this. A few months ago, Shimin Feng brought the people of Heartbreak Valley to wander around the remains for a few months without any results. When they reached the valley, Shimin Li suddenly stopped. What's wrong, Lier? Shimin Feng saw Shimin Li stop and asked. Second brother, there are treasures here. Shimin Li pointed at the valley and said. Shimin Feng looked at the white mist and said, the restriction here hasn't been broken. We can't go in. Tuanzi said that it can let us in. Shimin Li said, it said that there are good things inside that can greatly increase our strength. When they heard that their strength would increase greatly, everyone was a little moved. Didn't they come to the immortal land to increase their strength? Now that there was a place where they could raise their cultivation, how could they miss it? But the restriction here has never been broken by anyone. Wouldn't it be very dangerous? Shurchin put forward his idea. Throughout history, opportunities and dangers coexist. The greater the danger, the greater the opportunity. That's right. What's more, didn't Lord Yin Lin say that there wouldn't be any big problems with our trip to the immortal land this time? Since Lord Yin Lin said so, there shouldn't be any problems here, right? Uncle Bai, what do you think? Shimin Feng asked Bai Sheng. Bai Sheng was silent for a while and said, I think we can give it a try. Not to mention whether there will be danger, even if there is, on the path of pursuing Tao, risks are inevitable. If we avoid it now, we won't be able to avoid it in the future. Did Tuanzi really say that it can let us all in? Shimin Feng asked. Shimin Li nodded and said, Tuanzi said that it can bring us in. Alright, then let's go in and see what treasures there are that attracted it, Shimin Feng said. Shimin Li came in front of the barrier and placed her hand on the barrier. Soon, a hole appeared on the barrier. It's done. Shimin Li retracted her hand and turned back to look at Shimin Feng. Let's go in. You stay by my side. Xiangyi, you too. After Shimin Feng finished speaking, he pulled a girl and went in first. There weren't any treasures behind the barrier. It was just a very ordinary valley. The herbs in the valley weren't much better than the ones outside. Seeing this scene, everyone was a little disappointed. Didn't they say that there was a treasure? Could it increase their strength? Why was there nothing? Tuanzi said that it wants to go in, Shimonli said, "There's a barrier in front." They didn't know what treasure it was that it actually needed 2 layers of barriers to suppress it. But since they were already here, they couldn't go back without getting anything. "Then let's go in and take a look." They came to the other side of the valley and let Shimonli bring them into the barrier. Once they went in, they felt that it was different from the outside. "Such rich spiritual energy," they said in surprise. Such rich spiritual energy meant that there must be some kind of treasure here. That was why the barrier formed such an environment. Everyone was very happy. They all thought that they found a treasure. If it could let everyone cultivate, then they could all increase their strength. At that time, there wasn't any ancient aura here, and there weren't any ancient spirit beasts here. Then what happened? How did it become like this? "We felt the ancient aura the moment we came in. Did it only appear later?" Little Seven blinked her big eyes and asked curiously. "It did appear later," Shurchin said. "After we came in, we followed the path that Tuanzi pointed and kept walking inside. We found that the deeper we went, the richer the spiritual energy. At that time, when they saw the spiritual energy that was so rich that it could almost turn into water, they were all very excited. If they cultivated here, it would definitely be twice the result with half the effort." They flew for half a day and came to a sinkhole. They found that the spiritual energy was coming from below. "What's down there? It actually emits such rich spiritual energy." "We'll know when we go down and take a look. There won't be any danger, right? Let some people go down and take a look first." And Ione brought some people down. After a while, he came up and said, "Valley Lord, it's all mist formed by spiritual energy. The visibility is very low. But there seems to be some caves at the bottom of the cliff. But we can't get close. We're blocked by something." "Is it dangerous?" "It shouldn't be. There are no spirit beasts down there, nor are there any restrictions or arrays." And Ione said, "It feels like an empty sinkhole. But I don't know if there's anything in those caves." Once they heard that there was no danger, everyone went down and found a place to start cultivating. At that time they didn't know why, but the spiritual energy here was more than usual. After a few months, many people began to advance. And the problem appeared after everyone advanced. Chapter 11:23. Originally, everything was going well. Everyone advanced and was very happy. And Ione said, especially the people from Blood Fiend City. After they were poisoned by the Blood Demon Tree, they had not advanced for many years. I didn't expect that they would be able to advance so soon after coming out. "What does advancement have to do with this?" Little Seven asked. "In the beginning, those who advanced were all good. But later on, those who advanced later on couldn't stop." Shurchin said. "Can't stop? What does that mean?" "Those who advance later will form a spiritual energy whirlpool above their heads. That whirlpool will continuously absorb the spiritual energy here into their bodies. Some people will advance by 2 levels because of this. 2 people even had their meridians burst because of this." Shurchin still felt a lingering fear when he thought of that scene. "Then why did you stop?" "He didn't stop until all the spiritual energy inside was sucked dry," Shurchin said. Everyone shuddered at the thought of what would happen after the spiritual energy was sucked dry. "What happened after it was sucked dry? What scared you so much?" Seven asked curiously. "A lot of monsters have appeared. Some have physical bodies, some don't. There are all kinds of them. They are all looking at us from Mountain D," and Ione said. "Yamanori? You mean the Mountain D that I mentioned earlier?" "Yes." And Ione said, "When we absorbed all the spiritual energy in the sinkhole, we saw a strange stone that seemed to contain a lot of power. Before we had time to study what it was, a dough ball pounced on it." "That dough ball should be the one in her body that Miss Lear mentioned." Shurchin said, "That dough ball swallowed that stone and then the nightmare began. When Tuanzi swallowed the formation stone, the restriction in front of Mountain D disappeared. The whole valley seemed to come alive. A strong ancient aura instantly spewed out. Then the spirit beast ran out and attacked them. Fortunately, Old Bai reacted quickly and lifted the ball up. He took the remaining half of the formation stone from its mouth and put it back. However, the things in Mountain D had come to life, and only half of the stone was left, so the suppression on them was much weaker. Right now, those spirit beasts were constantly attacking the restriction in front of the mountain, wanting to rush out. Later, they discovered that injecting spiritual power into the incomplete formation stone could increase the restriction in front of the mountain. Thus, they took turns injecting spiritual power there. The ones that chased after Ione and the others were the ancient spirit beasts that ran out at the very beginning. Since Tuanzi can let you in, why don't you let it take you out? Those spirit beasts shouldn't be able to pass through the restriction, right? Little Seven asked. Everyone wanted to leave, but we realized that there was an invisible net above the sinkhole. That net trapped the spirit beasts in the valley, Lord. We can't go down and they can't come up. Shurchin said, now the people below are taking turns to inject spiritual energy, but the amount of spiritual energy injected and the replenishment is not proportional. It won't be long before everyone's spiritual energy is exhausted. Sima Yue was silent. She couldn't go down or up. This was really a headache. How many people are up there? Other than us, there are dozens of them. Because there were a lot of spirit beasts chasing after us, we didn't stick together. Instead, we chose to flee on our own. This way the spirit beasts can be scattered. And I said, Yu, what should we do now? Little Seven asked. Sima Yue took out the scroll and looked at it. She asked, how are the strength of those spirit beasts compared to the ones chasing you? About the same. And I said. Sima Yue thought for a while and said, Hua Xiaoming, take this and save the others with Shurchen. And I will go to the sinkhole to have a look. Do you still know where that place is? And saw Sima Yue looking at him and nodded. That place was easy to find and left a deep impression on him. He would never forget it. Then let's go. We'll split up. Xiaoming, Hua, find everyone and follow them. If you can't handle it, don't force it. Contact me, okay? Sima Yue reminded Hua and Xiaoming. We know. Xiaoming nodded. At this moment she was no longer the same person as before. Whether it was her intelligence or strength, she had improved a lot. Then be careful. You too. Hua and Xiaoming left with Shurchen and the others. They took the scroll and went to save the others. Sima Yue patted an who was looking at Xiaoming's back in a daze and said, let's go too. Boss, why does Xiaoming feel different from before? An followed Sima Yue and asked as they rushed towards the sinkhole. She remembered something that could change a person. Naturally she would be different. Sima Yue said, why are you interested in Xiaoming's matters? Isn't it because I saw her unconscious before? So when I see her again I will compare her to before. Boss, can you tell me what she remembered? An said. Lead the way properly. If you pry into Xiaoming's private affairs, she will make you regret it in the future. Sima Yue said. An touched his nose. He wanted to see how he would regret it. Sima Yue followed an and flew for half a day before arriving at the sinkhole they were talking about. It's here. An said, boss, look. As he spoke, he picked up a stone and threw it down. But as soon as it flew above the sinkhole, it was blocked. A net flashed in midair and then disappeared. It does look like a net. Little Seven said, what is this thing? This should have been set up by the emperor after he found these ancient spirit beasts. Sima Yue said, for some reason, those spirit beasts were trapped in the sinkhole and could come back to life at any time. In order to prevent them from coming out and harming people, he set up an array or enchantment at entrance D. He used the thing that was eaten by Tuanzi to suppress it and set up such a thing in the air. Once the array below is destroyed, the one above will be activated. That's right. They guess so too. An said, but if this is not opened, they can't come out. But if this is opened, those ancient spirit beasts may come out again. I don't know if the restriction outside can stop them. So the best way is to stop them from coming out. Sima Yue said. Then what should we do? Sima Yue stood at the side of the sinkhole and observed for a while. Suddenly she took a step forward and went into the air. At the same time, a net-like pattern appeared under her feet and blocked her outside. Chapter 11:24. Read 336. Yu, be careful. Little Seven shouted at Sima Yue as she felt the net releasing energy. Sima Yue had already leaped into the air when she sensed the energy wave. Heavenly net. Qingyi said. Qingyi, what did you say? Little Seven asked. This is the heavenly net. Qingyi said, a type of net that borrows the power of heaven and earth to form. Once you're trapped inside, you won't be able to get out unless the person who set up the nets of heaven opens it. Then wouldn't Brother Feng and the others be in danger? Little Seven's eyes widened. Then can they come out from underground? Qingyi shook his head. The nets of heaven will cover the entire area, even underground. Oh my God. Then what should we do? An was stunned. If they couldn't get out, then wouldn't the disciples in the valley? There must be a way. Sima Yue said, everything in the world has its counter. Even if you borrow the power of heaven and earth, there must be a way to break it. Qin Yi was stunned. He did not expect Sima Yue to say that, but he admired her quick-wittedness. You're right. There is indeed a way to break it. Really? What is that? Qin Yi quickly say it. Little Seven urged. Originally there wasn't, but your Tao and domain are the bane of Skynet. Qin Yi said. You can use my spirit realm to break this? Sima Yu asked. It's not that I've broken through, but that she's useless to you. Qin Yi explained further, your domain and your Tao also bear the power of heaven and earth, similar to the heavenly net. So as long as it acknowledges you, you can go down. Then, put them in your domain and you can bring them out successfully. That's it? Seven asked. Don't think that this is easy. Qin Yi patted little Seven's head, treating her like a child again. Although they are both borrowing the power of heaven and earth, the slightest difference can make a difference of 1,000 miles. It won't be that easy for her to gain the approval of Skynet. Then let's give it a try. Sima Yue flew to the side of the sinkhole and sat down cross-legged. She released her domain and summoned the 12 golden words and merged them into her domain. The edge of the domain arrived above the sinkhole and slowly approached the Skynet. The Skynet immediately emitted bursts of white light to block it. At this time, the 12 golden characters that were integrated into the domain emitted a golden light and merged with the white light, beginning a confrontation. Will that work? Seven asked. Whether she can do it or not will depend on her. Qin Yi smirked. He had confidence in Sima Yue. An INE stood at the side, feeling fine. He was worried about the situation below, but there was nothing he could do. He could only walk back and forth at the side. Then he was really worried. He took out the Sun Mother Stone and contacted Feng Zhi and the others. Big brother, are you guys alright? Old Six? Where are you? Feng Zhi and the others hadn't received any news from the higher-ups for the past 2 days. Now that they had contacted an INE, they were a little excited. Are you alright? I'm fine. Those spirit beasts that were chasing us are all dead. An INE said, how are you guys? Fortunately, I can still hold on for a while. But if I can't think of a way, big brother, don't worry. Boss is here and is thinking of a way up there. As long as the Skynet is open, you guys will be fine. An INE comforted. Boss, you said boss is here. Everyone who was originally listless became excited when they heard that Sima Yue was here. Yes. An INE said, boss is trying to open the Skynet above. You guys just have to hold on for a few more days. As long as boss succeeds, everyone will be safe. When did boss come? The Vice Valley Lord is here. We have hope. Yes. Everyone hold on for a while more. Those who don't have any spirit energy quickly eat pills. Recover a little bit is a little bit. Kong Sengyi grabbed Shimin Feng's hand and said excitedly, Feng, it's Yue. Yue is here. You must have contacted her the last time you tried. Shimin Feng was also very happy. There was finally hope. It was not in vain that he used up all his spirit energy and got injured. But the thing above had no reaction even when we attacked it together. Yue is alone. Can she open it? Bai Sheng was still worried. Little Seven jumped over and said, Old Bai, don't worry. Although the Skynet is hard to break, Yu has a way to deal with it. She just needs a little time. Little Seven and Sima Yue were always inseparable. Hearing her voice was like seeing Sima Yue here. Everyone was even more determined. How is she going to break it? Little Seven felt uncomfortable talking like this, so she took the Mother-Sun Stone from Nianyi's hand and sat on the floor to explain to everyone. The Skynet is a net that people set up using the power of heaven and earth. It was originally very powerful. As long as someone is trapped inside, other than the person who set up the Skynet, no one else can come out. Hearing Little Seven's explanation, everyone's heart thumped. So powerful? But thinking about it, there were many ancient creatures trapped here. At that time, this place was not a paradise yet. Once they were revived, what kind of disaster would it be to the outside world? It was expected that they would use the Skynet to lock them up. But with such a powerful Skynet, could they really get out? Little Seven guessed the thoughts of the people below and continued, Are you all very worried now? Haha, if Yu wasn't here, you all would be worried. But with Yu, this is not a problem. Didn't you say that other than the person who set it up, no one else can open it? Kong Sengyi asked. Elder Sister Xiang Yi, you have to believe that everything is arranged by fate. Little Seven was still pretending. If it was a few months ago or if Yu was trapped inside with all of you, there would be no hope. But now there's no problem. What could be changed in a few months? Because Yu has comprehended her own Tao during this time, and it's a Tao that is connected to heaven. She even comprehended her own domain. Little Seven said proudly, this is a close relative of the Skynet. Right now, she is trying to establish a relationship with the Skynet. As long as this relationship is established, she can bring you all out. She had actually comprehended her own Tao. And she had even comprehended a domain that only supremacies could comprehend. There was an uproar in the sinkhole. Their Vice Valley Lord was simply a pervert. But it was because of her perverted nature that they had a chance to live. They liked this kind of pervert. Time passed minute by minute, second by second, and a few days had passed. Although most of them had used up their spiritual energy, they were still persevering because they believed that she would be able to save them soon. Chapter 11:25. When Xiaomeng and Huahua brought the others over, they saw Sima Yue sitting at the side of the crater, controlling the realm and the heavenly net. Xiaomeng, you guys are back. Little Seven waved at Xiaomeng and Huahua. When they flew over, she asked, are you guys okay? We're fine. Where is Yu? Little Seven told them about the heavenly net, so everyone waited together. In the crater, the situation was getting more and more dangerous. Valley Lord, everyone's spiritual energy is almost depleted. This thing requires too much spiritual energy, we can't hold on any longer. Bai Xing came over and said to Shimin Feng, who was meditating to recover from his injuries. Everyone knew that Sima Yue was thinking of a solution, but if they couldn't make it in time, even if she opened the heavenly net, they would have died in the stomach of the spirit beasts. Everyone understood this point. The atmosphere in the crater was at its lowest point. Shimin Li sat beside Shimin Feng. She felt guilty and tears fell down uncontrollably. I'm sorry, if it wasn't for me, everyone wouldn't be trapped here. Li, it's not your fault. Shimin Feng said, if it wasn't for my orders, everything wouldn't have happened. That's right, Miss Li, it's not your fault. Everyone didn't know what would be here, it was everyone's own decision. Feng Kai comforted. Shimin Li was different from her brother and sister. Shimin Feng was cold, Yue was perverted, they weren't normal people. Only this little girl was obedient and sensible when she was with everyone. They couldn't help but feel pity for her. Sometimes they thought, how could people like Sima Yue and Shimin Feng have such an innocent and cute sister? Shouldn't she be as devious, perverted and inhuman as her brother and sister? Although this happened because of her, everyone didn't blame her. After all, it was their own choice, no one forced them. That's right, Miss Li, don't blame yourself. The others comforted her too. But the more they were like this, the more Shimin Li blamed herself. She hugged Tuanzi tighter subconsciously. Ouch, it hurts. Tuanzi suddenly screamed, giving everyone a shock. This guy can speak now. Everyone gathered around and looked at Tuanzi curiously. The current Tuanzi was no longer as ethereal as before, but as its name suggested, it was still a white Tuanzi. Especially after it ate half of the stone, it became even whiter. Tuanzi, you brought everyone down. Do you have a way to bring everyone up? Shimin Li asked. Tuanzi pretended to be dead as if it wasn't the one who spoke just now. Dough. Shimin Li was angry. She pinched the dough into various shapes with both hands. Tuanzi still didn't move or speak. Tuanzi, if you do this again, I'll cancel the contract between us. Shimin Li threatened. Tuanzi still ignored her. The little girl had been spoiled since she was a child and had lived in the valley for more than 10 years. She was very simple and would not really break the contract with her. However, she didn't know that the more innocent a person was, the more they would do crazy things because of self-blame. Seeing that Tuanzi was still like this, Shimin Li really began to cut the contract between her and Tuanzi, trying to cancel the contract with it. Tuanzi saw that Shimin Li was serious and was shocked. He shouted, Oh, I know. Don't be angry. Shimin Li stopped and said, Not playing dead anymore? I won't. Tuanzi hurriedly expressed its attitude. At the same time, it sighed in its heart. Although this girl looked simple, her ruthlessness was really like her sister. Then do you have a way to bring everyone up? Shimin Li asked. This is the Skynet. How can I do anything? Tuanzi said, Oh, don't cry. Why are you crying even harder? Valley Lord, we can't hold on any longer. The people over there shouted. They kept injecting spiritual power into the stone. There were many of them, but they had already used up all their spiritual power. Once the last bit of spiritual power was exhausted, the ancient spiritual beasts locked in the mountain would rush out. Then they looked up at the intertwined white and golden light. It had been so many days. They were afraid that they couldn't wait for the Skynet to open. Roar, they could already hear the roars of those spiritual beasts. At the entrance of the mountain, they seemed to feel that the restriction was weakening and began to attack the enchantment non-stop. Shimonli was so scared that her face turned pale. If everyone died, how could she forgive herself? Thinking of this, her tears flowed even harder. They dripped on Tuanzi and almost melted it. Oh, don't cry. Don't cry. If you cry again, I will turn into flour paste. Tuanzi protested loudly. If it was in normal times, everyone would definitely laugh at this scene. But now they didn't have the energy to pay attention to this. Their spiritual power was all used up. If these spiritual beasts came out, they would have no power to fight back. Oh, I told you not to cry. Tuanzi saw that Shimonli was crying harder and said helplessly, I said that I couldn't bring them up, but I didn't say that I couldn't alleviate the current situation. Everyone heard the last sentence and they all looked over. Tuanzi, do you have any ideas? Shimonli asked. Tuanzi saw that the spiritual power of the person who was injecting spiritual power was getting less and less. It was about to dry up. Tuanzi sighed and flew out of Shimonli's arms. Then it landed on the stone and wrapped the stone in its body. Everyone was stunned by its behavior and thought that it was going to eat the other half of the stone. Just when they wanted to stop it, they found that the inside of the mountain had quieted down. Hey, tell that ruthless woman that I can only hold on for 2 days. Tuanzi snorted. If she doesn't get rid of the heavenly net in 2 days, she can't blame me anymore. Anyway, these spiritual beasts didn't dare to touch her when they came out. Everyone's hearts were temporarily relieved. Although 2 days wasn't long, there was still hope. Feng Ji contacted NINE and the others and told them about the situation here. NINE was very anxious, but he couldn't urge Sima Yue. He was almost roasted to death by the fire in his heart. Sima Yue also heard the words just now and knew that time didn't wait for anyone. But the heavenly net was as stubborn as a bull. It refused to cooperate and give way to her. Hearing the situation below, she was also angry. She poured out all her spiritual power, shrunk her domain and pressed it on the heavenly net. I don't care who set it up and I don't care if you have the power of heaven and earth. If you don't get out of my way today, I will turn you into ashes. Chapter 11:26. Sima Yue released crimson flames and fused them with the 12 golden words. The power of the flames increased greatly, and even space was distorted by the heat. Skynet had been here for so many years and had developed its own intelligence. That was why it could fight against Sima Yue for so many days. However, in the face of such flames, it also felt fear. It was a kind of submission, a submission to a power that was stronger than itself. Its heart was crying. It was clearly the darling of heaven and earth, so why was there another one that was even more powerful than it now? Sima Yue did not know about Skynet's internal wailing. She only knew that she had forcefully merged the golden word with Qi Yan's flame, and now her body was being devoured. If this fellow didn't give way, she didn't know how long she could last. Her internal organs began to crack, and her bones began to shatter inch by inch. Her body also began to crack. Are you going to give way or not? Her voice was slow, but it carried a lot of weight. Skynet's little heart couldn't bear it. So be it, why must you be so fierce? The nets above, snares below opened up a gap. Sima Yue's territory immediately poured down and surrounded the entire crater. When Little Seven and the others saw Sima Yue in such a state, their tears flowed out. However, in order not to disturb her, they did not dare to cry out loud. When the people of Heartbreak Valley saw Sima Yue covered in blood, they could not help but be moved. What did they do to deserve such treatment from such a person? Rise. Sima Yue retracted her spirit realm and brought everyone out along the way. Roar. When Do Ball left, it took the remaining half of the stone with it. The moment the formation stone left, the restriction formation outside Mountain D disappeared automatically, and those spirit beasts chased after them. Fortunately, the heavenly net was powerful. With a silver light, the spirit beasts that were chasing after them were all sent flying back. The moment the domain was pulled out, the heavenly net immediately closed. Even if the spirit beasts behind flew up, they would not be able to get out of the sinkhole. PFFF. After Sima Yue brought the people of Heartbreak Valley out, she could no longer support her territory. After spitting out a mouthful of blood, she fainted. Once the territory was dispersed, the people of Heartbreak Valley appeared above the sinkhole. As soon as they lowered their heads, they saw all kinds of spirit beasts below them. They were so frightened that they nearly lost their balance and fell. Yeah. Little Seven and the rest rushed over, wanting to support Sima Yue who had fainted. However, when they saw that she was covered in blood, they didn't dare to touch her. Even Qi Yin couldn't help but come out. He stood at the side and frowned at her. The cries over there woke everyone up from their joy. They looked over and saw Sima Yue covered in blood lying in Xiaomeng's arms. They all flew over. Her white dress was already soaked in blood. The red color dyed the eyes of many men red. Sister. Boss. Yue. Although they didn't know exactly what had happened, they knew that she had become like this in order to save them. Now that they were out, they didn't expect to see her like this. Quickly give you a healing pill. No, her injuries are too serious. I don't know when the pill will work. Little Seven said, use my blood. Little Seven cut her finger and opened Sima Yue's mouth. She wanted to put her finger in, but before she could touch her lips, she stopped in the air. Qin Yi grabbed Little Seven's hand with his left hand and wiped her finger with his right hand. The wound disappeared. Qin Yi. Little Seven looked at him with tears on her face. Qin Yi saw her panicked look inside. I'm here, don't be afraid. Don't hurt yourself. After that, he cut his hand and squeezed out a drop of golden blood. He opened Sima Yue's mouth and dripped it in. Qin Yi's blood was full of vitality. In terms of healing, his blood was better than Little Seven's. Sima Yue didn't need to swallow. The vitality contained in the blood flowed through her meridians and began to repair her body. At the same time, the healing function of the divine devil body began to work, repairing her body together with the vitality. Her condition slowly stabilized. What happened just now? How did she get injured so badly? Shimin Feng asked. Little Seven and the rest weren't in the mood to talk about things. Ine told them everything that Sima Yue did these few days. When he reached the end, his eyes turned red. The other disciples who were saved by Little Dream and the rest were the same. Although they could feel Sima Yue's feelings for them, it was not as shocking as seeing her do it with their own eyes. Vice Valley Lord. Boss. Sima Yue was unconscious. Naturally, she couldn't see their red eyes. However, the faith in her body increased a little. Speaking of which, why is the Vice Valley Lord wearing a skirt? Someone finally noticed. Boss is a girl. It's not strange for her to wear a skirt. Dai Yi said. The Vice Valley Lord is a girl? No way. Oh my god. Although they didn't want to admit it, Sima Yue's current appearance had explained everything. This discovery made them regret their decision. They didn't expect that the person who made them follow so loyally was actually a girl. She's a girl. Then should we call her Young Miss instead of Young Master? The people from the Bird Clan said. Should be. Young Miss is really amazing. She's worthy of being our king's contractor. When the people from the Four-Winged Rock saw Qi Yin, they couldn't help but kneel down. Qi Yin glanced at them. Just a glance made the puzzled people from the Sparrowhawk clan and the Egret clan kneel down. Lord Divine Bird, the real king of the Bird Clan. When Sima Yue helped Shui Qing Man give birth in the Little Realm, she didn't let the people from Heartbreak Valley follow her. So they didn't see Qi Yin. Now that he suddenly appeared, they were really shocked. Get up. Qi Yin said faintly, then no longer looked at them. He just looked down at Sima Yue's situation. The people from the Sparrowhawk clan and the Egret clan thought of the Four-Winged Rock and knelt down first. They weren't surprised by Qi Yin's identity. They grabbed the people around them and said, You already knew that our king had appeared? The people from the Four-Winged Rock clan blinked and admitted it. God, you already knew? Why didn't you tell us? Our king didn't let us say it. So don't say it out. Otherwise, if our king gets angry, it will be very serious. Got it. Oh my god, I need to digest these two pieces of news. Me too. The people from Heartbreak Valley saw that the people from the Bird Clan were so abnormal. They were curious about the contract beast beside Sima Yue. They saw that the Bird Clan didn't act like this when they saw Little Rock. This meant that this person was more powerful than Little Rock. Oh, Sima Yue raised her eyebrows and made a sound. Chapter 11:27. Her movement caused the hearts of the people around her to clench. However, after she let out that murmur, she didn't move again. Yu? Yeah? Sister. However, no matter how much they shouted, Sima Yue did not respond. Her injuries were so severe that even with my blood essence, she would still need a day or two to recover. She won't wake up so early. Qing Yi said, Instead of worrying here, why don't you let her lie down more comfortably? That's right, let's give you a tent. Little Seven said. Let's do it. Shimin Feng and Shimin Li set up a tent for Sima Yue, then Qi Yin carried her and placed her on the bed. Little Seven, Little Dream and the rest were accompanying her inside. Shimin Li was also sitting by the side. Looking at her pale face, she felt extremely guilty. This was all because of her. How could she forgive herself? Big sister, get better quickly. She wanted to hold Sima Yue's hand, but it was full of scars and she did not dare to touch it. Shimin Feng stood at the entrance of the tent. He couldn't bear to see Sima Yue like this. This reminded him of the past. He turned around and went outside. He looked down at the spirit beasts that were continuously ramming into the heavenly net. Valley Lord, look, these spirit beasts are much uglier than the spirit beasts now. The people of Heartbreak Valley were also looking at the spirit beasts at the side of the sinkhole. I wonder who sealed them here. Why didn't they just kill them? Bai Sheng asked. I'm more curious about which great emperor set up the heavenly net back then. It's really amazing. Shimin Feng looked at those ugly spirit beasts and said, something must have happened in the past for this to appear. However, this has nothing to do with us. When she gets better, we'll leave this place. Valley Lord, how is boss now? Ine asked. In the midst of a stable recovery. Shimin Feng said, although these things have happened, fortunately, everyone has gained something. Although it was extremely thrilling this time, everyone had basically advanced. Moreover, some had even advanced by 2 levels. For people of their level, this was already very difficult. Many people couldn't advance by 1 level in tens of years. They advanced not long after entering, so it was already very difficult. Shimin Feng looked at the spirit beasts below in silence. He didn't know what had happened in the past for so many powerful ancient spirit beasts to survive and even awaken now. Now they were lucky that they were in the Immortals' land. No matter what happened here, it would not affect them. If they were in the outside, these spirit beasts would give them a headache. Everyone waited here for a day. After a day, Sima Yu finally woke up. You're awake. Little Seven saw that Sima Yu had woken up and immediately became alert. Yu? Little Dream and the others surrounded her. Sister, how are you feel? Sima Yu frowned, saying, my whole body hurts. All the bones in your body are broken. Your internal organs are also torn apart. Even your muscles are injured. It's normal to feel pain. Qingyi said, but it's not bad that you can wake up within a day. Although Sima Yue was unconscious, she knew that his essence blood was still in her body. She said gratefully, thank you. I just don't want to see Little Seven waste her essence blood. Qingyi said. No matter what the subjective reason is, the objective result is that you helped me. Sima Yue smiled weakly. Sister. Your injuries are still very serious. Don't talk so much. Shimin Li said. Sima Yue saw her red eyes and said, why are your eyes as red as a rabbit's? You've been crying for the past 2 days, right? Sister, I'm sorry. It's all because of me. I'll accept whatever punishment you want to punish me. Shimin Li bit her lower lip and said self-reproachfully. This happened because of you. But I think you've been suffering for the past 2 days, so I won't punish you. As for what Fenger and the rest will do, I don't care. But I'll punish the real culprit later. The dough in Shimin Li's body shrunk its neck subconsciously. Was this ruthless woman talking about it? No, this matter couldn't be blamed on it. It was all those humans who wanted to increase their strength. It wasn't its fault, it wasn't its fault. Do you want to come out yourself or do you want Li to throw you out? Sima Yue's cold voice cruelly broke its self-comfort. Sob, 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 this ruthless woman really wanted to find trouble with it. I'll count to 3. If you don't come out. Sima Yue threatened. Perhaps it was frightened by her that time. Before she started counting, Do came out of Shimin Li's body. Smart, kind, strong, beautiful and cute Yue, why did you call me out? The moment Do came out, it hugged Sima Yue's leg and started to flatter her. Sima Yue frowned slightly and Do was thrown out by Xiaomeng. Do came back from outside and wanted to hug Sima Yue's leg again. Xiaomeng didn't even look up and said, you hurt Yu. She meant that if it dared to come over again she would still throw it out. Little Do stopped 10 centimeters away from Sima Yu, and then came to Shimin Li's side obediently, looking obedient. It was acting so obedient and cute now. Sima Yue probably wouldn't punish it. It was said that women like cute things. Once it acted cute, a woman's heart would melt. It hoped that this trick would work on this ruthless woman too. Kong Xiangyi's mouth twitched when she saw how obedient Do Ball was, and how arrogant it was in the heaven pit in the modern world. It turned out that this fellow was a bully. Sima Yue wouldn't be fooled by Do's trick. In terms of cuteness, it was far from Little Roar. She remembered that little Seven and Xiao Meng immediately took a pillow for her to lean on. She looked at Dou and said coldly, "You already knew what was here, didn't you?" Dou shook its head and denied it. What a joke, it wouldn't admit it. If it admitted it, this ruthless woman would definitely skin it. But when it saw Sima Yue's eyes that seemed to know everything, it lowered its head and nodded slightly. "So you knew?" Sima Yue sneered. "So you planned all of this? You let everyone help you absorb all the spiritual energy and make them your scapegoat." Her voice became colder and colder, and her tone became stricter. Everyone in the house was shocked, especially Sima Li and Dou. No, I didn't think that way." Dou quickly denied, otherwise it would be punished by this ruthless woman. Sima Yue didn't believe it and released a red flame, saying, "Really? Then tell me, what are you?" Chapter 11:28. Dou looked at the fire on Sima Yue's hand and shrunk back. "You're injured. It's better not to play with fire now." "Then do you know who you are?" Sima Yue played with the flame. "Are you willing to tell me? If you can't explain it clearly, little Seven, I haven't made roasted dough balls for you to eat, right? That one tastes pretty good too. Do you want to eat it?" Okay. As long as it's made by Yu, anything is delicious." Little Seven agreed. Dou shrunk its neck and looked at Sima Yue. It did not seem like she was joking. "Well, I say you can put away the flame first. Let's talk nicely, shall we? If you get hurt again, everyone will be worried, right?" It said with a smile. "It's alright, I can still handle this small amount of fire." Sima Yue said, "What do you think?" or, Speak, I'll speak now." Dou stole a glance at Crimson Flame's flames, and he was about to cry in his heart. Vicious woman bullying it because it was weak now. If it was strong, very strong, it would definitely make her crawl at its feet. "Then tell me, my patience is limited." Sima Yue said, "What are you?" Shimonli looked down at Tuanzi. She didn't know who Tuanzi was. Dou felt wronged after being yelled at by Sima Yue. Its body moved and grew 4 limbs, then a head and slowly facial features. "A tiger?" Little Seven looked at Tuanzi. "Why are you pretending to be a tiger?" "I'm not a tiger." Tuanzi protested. "A white tiger. If you're not a tiger, then what are you? You can't be saying that you're one of the 4 divine beasts, the white tiger, right?" Little Seven stretched out her hand to poke its head. "I'm not a white tiger either." Tuanzi was very proud of her identity, but when she thought that Sima Yue had Rosefinch by her side, she couldn't show off in front of her. "You are neither a tiger nor a white tiger. Then what are you?" Sima Yue asked as she played with the flame. Tuanzi twisted its body, and another head grew out from one side of its head, and then another one grew out from the other side. Xiaoqi blinked, looked at Tuanzi and screamed, "You are not a tiger, you are a monster." "I'm not a monster." Tuanzi was sad. It was really not a monster. "You have 3 heads. If you aren't a monster, then what are you?" Little Seven scoffed. No. He wasn't a monster. "If you say I'm a monster again, I'll bite you." After Tuanzi's 3 heads were together, its voice was still a little scary. Unfortunately, the people here were not people who had not seen the world. This little bit of aura was not enough to scare them. "Ancient divine beast Lu Wu," Qingyi said. Tuanzi turned her head to look at Xingyi. She didn't expect that someone could recognize her. "How many heads have you grown?" When Qingyi didn't speak, everyone couldn't feel her presence. Once she spoke, everyone couldn't move their eyes away. Speaking of her own heads, Tuanzi's 3 heads were pulled down. She twisted her body and her limbs and head were gone. She became the previous Tuanzi. "I haven't completely transformed. It didn't touch the heavens. It was really a sad thing." "So you are still a Dou now?" Sima Yue said. "Qingyi, what kind of divine beast is Lu Wu? Is it powerful?" Little Seven asked. "It's very powerful when it grows 9 heads. As for the others, they are just average." Qingyi said. "Isn't that the same as Thousand Resonance? When he grows 9 tails, he will be a real 9-tailed spiritual fox." Little Seven said. "We already know who you are." "Then Tuanzi, now tell us why you tricked everyone here." Sima Yue said. "I didn't say that I tricked everyone here. I just brought everyone here to find opportunities." Tuanzi said without confidence. "Are you sure you want to say that?" Tuanzi looked at Sima Yue's eyes and felt even less confident. She was afraid that she would throw the flame at her, so she had to tell the truth. "I felt that there was an ancient aura here, so I let them in. But I didn't expect there to be so many ancient spiritual beasts here, and I didn't know there was a heavenly net above. You really didn't know, or are you pretending not to know? Sima Yue asked. I really didn't know. I can swear. Tuanzi said, I thought that they could absorb the spiritual power to increase their strength and I could also get what I want. Isn't this a win-win situation? Who knew that the spiritual power and that thing were used to suppress those spiritual beasts? I didn't expect that only a few spiritual beasts escaped, and the heavenly net was activated. Really? Really? Tuanzi nodded vigorously. My starting point was good, but I didn't think of what would happen next. What do you want? That array stone? Sima Yue asked. That's not an ordinary formation stone. It's an origin stone that contains an ancient aura. That's why I can smell it. As long as I digest that stone, I will definitely grow another head. Tuanzi said. Speaking of which, you said that you could transform. Why haven't you done it yet? Why are you still absorbing Li Er's spiritual power? Sima Yue narrowed her eyes. Tell me, if I find out that you lied to me, what will I do to you? Braise? Fry? Roast pork or hot pot? Every time she said something, Tuanzi's body trembled and she felt that the temperature around her dropped a little. I didn't lie to you. You are so wise and smart. How dare I lie to you? Tuanzi said flatteringly. Then what's wrong with you now? Why haven't you transformed yet? I just want to improve the starting point of me and Li Er. Tuanzi said, the later I transform, the stronger I will be after transforming. Previously, I said that I could transform, but I could only transform with one head. If I can transform with 4 or 5 heads when I transform, my talent after transforming will be even higher. Li Er can also get more power. Sima Yue didn't know if what it said was true, so she looked at Tsing Yi for help. Since Tsing Yi could recognize Tuanzi's identity, it should know about this, right? Tsing Yi nodded, indicating that it was true. Well, I'll believe you for the time being. Sima Yue said, I've asked clearly. Now I need to think about how to punish you. Tuanzi shrank its body towards Sima Li and said weakly, I said I didn't do it on purpose. You still need to be punished. Sima Yue said. Then how are you going to punish me? Tuanzi shrank its body into a small ball, obviously frightened. Chapter 1129. Shimonli lowered her head and sat by the bed. She waited anxiously with Do Ball for Sima Yue's final verdict. Although she was also very angry with Tuanzi, she was still with Tuanzi. If her sister really wanted to punish Tuanzi, she would bear it together with it. Tuanzi was very scared, but when he felt Shimonli's thoughts, he felt a lot warmer. I just don't know how this vicious woman will deal with me. Truly, one had no choice but to lower one's head when under someone else's roof. It was too tragic. But after waiting for so long, she still didn't say anything. Was she thinking about how to deal with him in her heart? The longer it waited, the more scared it became. Boo-hoo, this vicious woman was too evil. Just when everyone thought that Sima Yue would punish Tuanzi severely, she shrank back and said, I'm tired. He would leave the punishment to Feng Li, or bring it to your second brother. What? Shimin Li and Tuanzi looked up at the same time. Did she mean that she wouldn't punish it? Could it be that this ruthless woman's heart has changed for the better? Tuanzi thought. But looking at Sima Yue's pale face, she was indeed tired. Alright, this was even better. That cold second brother was actually much easier to talk to than this smiling tigress. Sister, have a good rest. I'll take Tuanzi to find second brother, Shimonli said. Go ahead, Sima Yue said with her eyes closed. After Shimonli left with Tuanzi, Kong Sangyi said, You don't want to punish it, do you? Sima Yue opened her eyes and said, I don't have the energy now. Then why did you pretend to be so scary to scare that little guy? Aren't you worried about Li Er? Sima Yue sighed and said, I didn't know anything about that little guy, and now something like this happened. If it's a ferocious beast, I have to think more about it. Kong Sangyi shook his head. You're the elder sister, yet you're already in this state. Don't worry about it. But they're really fortunate to have an elder sister like you. When you and Feng Er get married, I will officially be your elder sister. Sima Yue closed her eyes again. Her body was still very uncomfortable. Seeing her like this, Kong Sangyi stopped teasing her and said, Rest well. You don't have to worry about anything else. Sima Yue responded weakly and fell asleep again. Although he would lose consciousness while sleeping, his divine devil physique would be able to display its full potential. As for how Shimin Feng would punish Tuanzi, she didn't care at all. Tsing Yi looked at Sima Yue with a different expression. He was accepting her bit by bit. When Sima Yue woke up again, 2 days had passed. This time she had almost recovered. Tsingyi, your vitality is really good. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have recovered so quickly. She stood up, stretched and said to Tsingyi, who was drinking tea in the corner of the tent. With your physique, it won't take long for you to recover, Tsingyi said. But without you, I wouldn't have recovered so quickly, Sima Yue said. She went into the spirit pagoda and came out immediately. When she came out again, she had changed into a dress and looked much more energetic. Kong Sengyi came in and saw her in a long dress. He said with a smile, I'm used to seeing you in men's clothes. I'm not used to seeing you in a dress. Then you'll get better after seeing me a few more times. Will I wear women's clothes in the future? Well, since others already know, it's meaningless to wear men's clothes, Sima Yue said. That's good too. As a girl, it's better to dress up prettily. It's not good to wear men's clothes all day, Kong Sengyi said. Your words are quite similar to senior sister. Oh right, the restriction isn't broken. How did you come in? Where's Miao Shuang and the rest? Shinshio, he helped me in. Senior sister and the rest are waiting outside. Sima Yue said, if there's nothing else, let's go out earlier. If we don't go out, they'll be worried. Okay. I'll go inform everyone and call them back, Kong Sengyi said. I'll go out with you. Sima Yue came out. The people from Heartbreak Valley saw that she had woken up and surrounded her. Vice Valley Lord, you're finally awake. Everyone was worried to death. Vice Valley Lord, thank you for saving us. Bai Sheng looked at Sima Yue and asked, are you all right? I'm all right now. Sima Yue said, why are you all here? Why didn't you walk around to see if there are any treasures? Fui and the rest have gone. We're waiting here. We'll see if there are any strange beasts. Did you see anything? Yes. What did you see? The spirit beasts in the ancient times are uglier than the ones now. Sima Yue looked at Nine. He was the one who said that. All right, everyone pack up. When the others come back, we'll leave this place. Sima Yue said to the rest. Then we'll go and keep the tents. The people dispersed, leaving her and Bai Sheng standing at the cliff. I've never seen them so sincere in Blood Fiend City. Bai Sheng looked at the people who were smiling. You've made everyone's heart come alive again. I think even if it's the entire Blood Fiend City, they will also be united because of you. Sima Yue smiled. Old Bai, you really think highly of me. You have such ability and charm. Bai Sheng continued, this is something I didn't expect. Now I'm glad that I followed you all out. I'm also glad that you helped us. Sima Yue said, without you, Heartbreak Valley wouldn't have developed so well. The two of them looked at each other and smiled. They felt like they had found a confidant. These ancient spirit beasts are just like that. Will anything happen to them? Little Seven asked. With the heaven's net, they can't get out. They can only be locked up here forever. Bai Sheng said. Oh, that's so pitiful. Little Seven said, they didn't do anything but be locked up here forever. If it was me, I'd probably go crazy. Can we bring them away? Sima Yue looked at the spirit beasts in the valley and frowned, saying, these spirit beasts are too ferocious. If we let them out, I'm afraid it'll bring danger to everyone. What if we can bring them all away? Little Seven asked. As long as there's time, we can tame them one by one. Sima Yue looked at Little Seven in confusion, saying, this isn't like you. What are you planning? Hee hee. Little Seven laughed. I'm just thinking that they caused you to get hurt. If we tame them later on, I can torture them properly and help you vent your anger. Chapter 1130. Sima Yue was happy with Little Seven's thoughts. But they still left without doing anything. Not to mention the fact that the nets above snares below were difficult to overcome. Even if they were able to overcome it, she would not want to release them. When Little Seven left, she looked back at the sinkhole every 3 steps. She wanted to use them to vent the hatred in her heart. Coming to the restriction formation, Tuanzi opened it and everyone went out one by one. When the people of Heartbreak Valley came out again, many of them could not help but take a deep breath. They were finally out. Sima Yue came out and saw Jiang Junxian, Han Miao Shuang, Su Xiaoxiao and the Shenqiu clan members outside. She didn't see Shi Qianji and Shi Qiu Shuang. Wait for me here, Sima Yue said to Shimin Feng and the others, then walked towards Shen Qiuhe. She walked up to him, took out the Bodhi leaf and handed it to him. Thank you. She was sincerely grateful to him. If he didn't send her in, then Shimin Feng and the others wouldn't be able to come back. Xianqiu he took the Bodhi leaf and said, I am very happy to be able to help you. It's good that the people of Heartbreak Valley are fine. Although he didn't know what had happened inside, he believed that it was because of her that they had come out alive. Yue will definitely help if you need anything in the future. Sima Yue said. If I really need your help, Crane will not hesitate. Xianqiu he said. Since you're fine, we'll take our leave first. Please. Xianqiu he led the Xianqiu clan away. Sima Yue then looked at Han Miao Shuang and the others and asked, Where's Chiu Shuang and the others? Previously, someone said that there were people pretending to be people from the Divine Dragon sect and wantonly killing people from other sections. Shi Qianji and Shi Chiu Shuang went to settle it. Han Miao Shuang said. Then why didn't you go? Sima Yue looked at Jiang Junxian. Was he also a member of the Divine Dragon sect? Moreover, his status was quite high. I don't really care about the matters of the cult. Jiang Junxian said, and those matters can be settled by the two of them. I think you're worried about senior sister. Su Xiao said. Jiang Junxian didn't deny it. These guys always liked to make fun of them, so there was no need to pay attention to them. He leaned on Han Miao Shuang. He started to doze off. Sima Yu saw him closing his eyes and pretending to be asleep and smiled lightly. It had been a long time since she saw him like this. Vice Valley Master, what should we do now? The people of Heartbreak Valley asked. This place has already been searched thoroughly. The places that people can go have already been searched several times. Han Miao Shuang said. Sima Yu asked the scarlet bees that were still outside, and the news she got was the same. But there were many places that no one went. Yue. That Yu to Yue that was. Yue to go. To Yue to Yue? Yue, do you still want to go? Tuanzi shouted. Yue. As long as it's not like before. Sima Yu said. But I don't have that much energy left. Tuanzi said, I haven't digested the remaining half of the stone. I don't have enough energy to take so many people in. It's okay, you don't have to bring them all in. You just have to bring me in. Her smile made Tuanzi feel cold. What a terrifying woman. Shiminli touched her nose speechlessly. Her sister was very gentle. Why did Tuanzi always call her a cruel woman? Seeing Tuanzi's reaction, Sima Yue took it out of Shiminli's arms and said, This is your punishment. But Shimin Feng has already punished me. Tuanzi protested, Didn't you say that you wouldn't punish me? I said I didn't have the energy to punish you then. Sima Yue said, Your protest is invalid. You better obey. Ah. Tuanzi had no limbs, so its body was twisting in her hands. Seeing Sima Yue shoot out red flame, it obediently gave in and said unwillingly, Okay. So, for nearly a year she held Tuanzi in her arms and shuttled through various inhibitions. She took people into the small realm, and then went in with Tuanzi in places that were not very dangerous. If there was no danger, she would call everyone out to look for treasures. If there was danger, one person and one beast would retreat. Every time Little Doe protested, Sima Yu would start to play with fire and suppress the rest of the guy's words. After some exploration, Tuanzi had a deeper understanding of Sima Yue. It planned to encourage its master to stay away from her in the future. What a terrifying woman. The people who came to the relics came and left. Gradually no one came to the island. The tree of life was gone, and there was nothing to look for in the relics. It was meaningless for them to come again, so they might as well go to other places. A year later, Sima Yue also left with the people of Heartbreak Valley. Because the emperor's inheritance was obtained by Xianqiu He, and the sacred cultivation place was all absorbed by the people of Heartbreak Valley. Occasionally there were some treasures, but they were also plundered by Sima Yue. Of course, these were not the only things in the relics. There were several inhibitions that they did not enter. It was not that she didn't want to, but Tuanzi said that there was something inside that made it feel horrible. Thinking of the Skynet, she gave up. If there was something horrible that everyone couldn't solve, it would be troublesome. Besides, all the people of Heartbreak Valley had advanced, which was already a good thing. Xiaoqi took everyone back to the land with the ship, and then Shimin Feng left with the people of Heartbreak Valley. Why didn't you go with the group? Jiang Junxian opened his eyelids slightly and asked sleepily. They have their opportunities and I have mine. If we go together, we will break up each other's opportunities. Sima Yue said. How do you know? Inlin said it. Speaking of which, although the people of Heartbreak Valley encountered danger this time, they still had a lot of gains. However, didn't Inlin say that there wouldn't be any danger? Could it be that when he said that there wouldn't be too much danger, he meant that she would go and save them in the end and let them be scared but not in danger? But no matter what, it was good to have gains. After Shimin Feng and the others left, Sima Yue and Han Miao Shuang went in the same direction. This way the distance between them would not be too far. If anything happened to them they could take care of each other. But Yin Lin's words were not in vain. After that, until everyone left the Immortal Land, the people of Heartbreak Valley did not send her a signal for help. After the group of people swept through the Immortal Land, they returned with a full load before the Immortal Land closed. And for some reason the opening of the Immortal Land this time took longer than before. From opening to closing it took about 20 years. This was something that Yin Lin did not expect at the beginning. Chapter 1131. Sima Yue took out the scroll and saw that there were fewer people on it. Are the Zhongzheng clansmen still alive? Little Seven asked. When we left the island, the old apes said that they were all gone. Sima Yue said, you were in the cabin then, so you didn't know. Oh, they're already dead. They didn't have time to wait for us to take revenge. Little Seven sighed in disappointment. You still like to fight so much even with Qingyi, why can't Qingyi control you? Han Miao Shuang teased. You're still so talkative even with senior brother, why can't senior brother control you? Little Seven immediately retorted. Han Miao Shuang was stunned. How did this guy react so quickly? She didn't think that she would get herself into trouble just because she wanted to tease her. Little Seven saw Han Miao Shuang's reaction as if she had won a battle. She went to Sima Yue and asked, Yu, where are we going now? Use your little nose to smell, is there any treasure in front? Sima Yue said. No, I'm not a dog. Little Seven snorted. Your attributes are similar to that. Sima Yue smiled and said, so, come on, try it. Annoying. I'm ignoring you. Little Seven ran to Qingyi's side and ignored her. Haha dash, everyone laughed. Even if she looked like she had grown up, her personality was still the same. Sima Yue turned her gaze to Little Dream and said, Little Dream, let's go to a crowded place and see if we'll meet the devil clansmen. If you have enemies, we'll take revenge for you. Little Dream's body trembled. She thought of the past. She nodded. If she met those people, she wouldn't be merciful. Sima Yue looked at the scroll and found a place with the most dots. She got Chongming to bring everyone there. They flew for many days and didn't meet anyone, but they saw many corpses. They died very tragically, seems to be done by the devil clan. There's still some devil aura lingering on them. They concluded after checking the corpses. Little Dream looked at the corpses and was stunned. Little Meng, what's wrong? Huahua tugged at her clothes. Little Meng flew to the side of the corpses and sniffed carefully, saying, this is the aura of the Demon Wolf clan. The Demon Wolf race was one of those races back then? Little Seven asked. Yes. They were the ones who experimented on me the most. I will never forget their smell. Xiaoming clenched her fists, her body trembling from restraint. Sima Yue came to her side and hugged her. She stroked her hair and said, it's okay now. Since those people are here, then let's find them and take revenge for you. Little Seven said. That's right. Little Dream, can you sense where they are? Han Miao Shuang asked. Xiaoming got out of Sima Yue's arms and shook her head. Let me try. Sima Yue took out a scroll and used her spirit energy to sweep away the devil aura on those people's wounds. A few faint dots appeared on the scroll. This scroll can be used like that. Han Miao Shuang said in shock. Such a good treasure. Junior sister, where did you get this? Senior brother Ling Yu gave it to me. Sima Yue said. As the holy son of the Sage Pavilion and the former Demon King, it wasn't strange for him to have this. In the northwest direction. Little Seven came over and looked at the faint black dots, saying, Yu, let's go over now. Sima Yue looked at the many dots around them and said, there are more people there than other places, and they are very concentrated. It seems that there might be some treasure there. Su Xiaomeng said. Sima Yue kept the scroll and said, since that's the case, let's go take a look. Chongming flew them for a few days before they slowly got close to that place. For safety reasons, Sima Yue released many scarlet bees and got them to scout for information. Very quickly, the scarlet bees sent back news that there were many people gathered there, but they weren't looking for treasure, but for a confrontation. Confrontation? Everyone was shocked by this news. Every minute and every second in the Immortal Land was precious. These people didn't use it to look for opportunities but used it to confront others? But because there were very strong people there, the scarlet bees couldn't get close, so they didn't know what was going on there. Let's go over and take a look. In order to narrow down the target, the group got off Chongming and walked over. Chongming transformed into his human form and followed. What a dense devil aura. There's also the aura of the ghost clan. Jingyi said. Could it be a war between the three clans? Little Seven's eyes lit up. She had always been interested in such things. The bees in front didn't dare to get close, so we don't know what's going on. Everyone be careful. Sima Yue said. That Little Seven, bring Qingyi into the spirit pagoda. Qingyi wasn't an ordinary person after all. If he was seen by someone strong, it would bring trouble to Yue. She was alone in Heartbreak Valley and wasn't around. If something happened, it would be troublesome. Okay, Qingyi, let's go in. Little Seven said. Qingyi wasn't interested in these things and followed Little Seven into the spirit pagoda. Sima Yue and the others walked forward slowly. They went over the call in front and saw that there were people everywhere. The call and the valley were densely packed with people. And on the call in the distance there were also people, but they were all from the Devil clan. On the other side, the Ghost clan had taken over many mountains. Human, Devil and Ghost clan were in a triangular confrontation. The strong people felt that they were coming and turned back to take a look. Seeing that it was a few people with average strength, they didn't take it to heart. Sima Yue and the others came to the call in the distance. The terrain here was higher and they could see the situation below clearly. But because they had their backs to most people, only the Ghost clan opposite them could see them. When they saw Sima Yue's face, the people opposite them were stunned. Is that the princess? Impossible, that's obviously a human. Deja saw Sima Yue and his body shook. Ghost Master, is that her? Why did she look so familiar? Ghost Master looked at Sima Yue. She really looked like the Dark Princess when she was dressed as a female. It's her. There's a mark left on her body. But it's being suppressed by something, so it's not easy to feel. Ghost Master, why does she look so familiar? Deja looked at Sima Yue in female clothes and felt that there was something familiar between her eyebrows. I heard that when the Dark Princess went to the human world, she fell in love with a human. She even pledged to marry him and gave birth to a child. Chapter 1132. Deja was stunned. You're not saying that she's my cousin, are you? He looked at Sima Yue. When he thought of this possibility, he could not accept it. This fellow had killed many of his ghost soldiers back then, and he had always wanted to take revenge on her. Ghost Master, could it be that you've got the wrong person? No, the Ghost Master said with certainty. He looked at Sima Yue. Even though they were so far apart, even though the ghost aura in her body was suppressed, he could still smell the unique scent on Yue's body. Yukuluo? Master, why are you so sure? Deja felt even more depressed. The Ghost Master always had a sense of propriety. If he wasn't sure, he wouldn't have said it with such certainty. However, that was his cousin. He felt that he had to digest this news properly. If it was any other cousin, he would have killed her. The king would not blame him and no one would dare to cause trouble for him. But this was his aunt's woman. He couldn't do it. He must have owed her in his previous life, which was why he was being bullied by her in this life. Sima Yue noticed that Deja's gaze slowly changed from anger and hatred to shock and helplessness. In the end, he looked as if he had been bullied by her. She was very confused. She should be the one who was angry, right? Wasn't she the one who was being bullied? The last time he saw them, he was almost killed. How could she still look at him like that? Where was his face? However, was this guy crazy? Why was she looking at him like that? Could it be, her heart suddenly skipped a beat. Could it be that this fellow had seen through her identity as a ghost? That wasn't right either. The way he looked at her was as if he was looking at an acquaintance. Furthermore, it was as if he was looking at a relative. *C. Could it be? Sima Yue was shocked by her own thoughts. If he was really related to that guy, wouldn't he be depressed to death? No way, it shouldn't be that tragic, right? However, the way Deja looked at her made her more and more certain of her thoughts. However, Sima Yue recalled what Yin Lin said before she came in. The 100 Ghosts banner must be in her hands. Wasn't this 100 Ghost streamer Deja's treasure? If he snatched it away, would he be so angry that he would vomit blood? Thinking about how he had almost died last time, it was fine to make him vomit blood. Little junior sister, who is that person? You look at me strangely. Han Miao Shuang said. An enemy. Sima Yue said. Deja almost vomited blood when he saw Sima Yue's mouth. What enemy? He was her family. Family. This girl, after we meet, I will definitely teach her a lesson. Master, is she really your cousin? A guard behind Deja asked. That's right. Master, she can't really be my cousin, right? Deja also hoped to hear a different answer. She's obviously a human, she doesn't have any ghost clan's aura at all. The ghost master seemed to have just recovered from his memories. He glanced at them and said, the last time when I branded her, I triggered the ghost clan's aura in her body. At that time, I knew that one of her parents must be from the ghost clan. However, we left too quickly, so I didn't feel whose aura was in her body. At that time, I thought she wouldn't live for long. I didn't expect to see her again and feel a familiar aura. It's really her. He couldn't tell if it was surprise or sadness. However, no matter what it was, in Deja's ears it was a joke. If it's any other cousin master, you can ignore it. However, this is the Dark Princess child. You stop talking. Deja turned around and glared at that person. The Dark Princess child. What a sad sentence. Ukalua was only a few years older than him, and the two of them had a very good relationship. In the past, when his talent had not been activated and he was looked down upon by others, she was the only one who accompanied him, encouraged him, and helped him start another life. He once said that he could betray the D family, the royal family, the entire ghost clan, and even the world, but he would never betray her. As long as it was something she wanted, he would definitely give it to her. Even this 100 ghost banner was because he heard that it could save her, so he spent a lot of effort to find it. If he knew that she had a child, he didn't know how happy he would be. However, the prerequisite was that it wasn't that person in front of him. When he thought about how he had sent people to kill her daughter, and how her daughter had killed so many of his ghost soldiers, he wanted to curse. So, no matter how unhappy he was, no matter how conflicted he was, he couldn't change this matter. The only thing he could do now was to accept it. In view of what had happened before, he felt that it would be difficult for them to get along peacefully. Sima Yue watched as Deja's expression changed again and again. She didn't know what he was thinking. However, it didn't matter what he was thinking. What she needed to do now was to snatch the 100 ghost banner. If she hadn't met him, it would have been fine. Now that she met him, she wouldn't let go of this opportunity. What are these people in a deadlock for? Su Xiaoxiao looked at the three parties below and asked. I don't know. There seems to be a group of people below discussing something. The people above are waiting for the results? Han Miao Shuang said. Let's wait and see. Sima Yue said, Little Dream, have you seen the Devil Wolf clan? Little Seven nodded and looked behind the Devil clan. Sima Yue followed her gaze and saw a few hundred people with wolf heads embroidered on their clothes. Those are the Devil Wolf clan? I don't know the others, but I know the leader. Little Dream looked at the person in the middle. When they experimented on me, he was still a young wolf. However, his position in the clan wasn't low, so he often came to watch. I remember that he even helped them with a knife. Those damn devil wolves. I want to eat them all. Hua Hua looked at those people hatefully. We won't let them go. Sima Yue said. But they have a lot of people. If it's just the few of us, I'm afraid it won't work. Su Xiaoxiao said. Don't worry. It's still early to get out. We'll think of a way. Sima Yue said, sometimes you don't have to have a lot of people. As long as you have the right time and the right people, it's not impossible to fight with fewer people. You're talking about the time at the Shisha mountain range. You used an array to exterminate the Zhongzheng clan in Huayang Palace? Han Miao Shuang asked. Sima Yu curled her lips into a smile, silently agreeing with her words. Array formations, that's a really good thing. They've come to a conclusion. Su Xiaoxiao said. Everyone looked over and saw that the group of people who were gathered together had dispersed and retreated. Chapter 1133. It was only then that Sima Yu noticed that the three people who were chatting below were all very powerful. The humans, demons, and ghosts are all at the Paragon level. Hua Hua said. What's going on? Why would the elders of the three clans come out? Su Xiaoxiao frowned. Sima Yue's expression was solemn as well. It was definitely not an ordinary matter for the three tribes to gather for a discussion. Who is that human? If I'm not wrong, that's someone from the Sage Pavilion. Su Xiao said. Someone from the Sage Pavilion? Sima Yue was stunned. If Wu Lingyu woke up, he should be able to recognize this person. Deputy Pavilion Master. When Yu Qingbi saw the Deputy Pavilion Master return, he hurriedly went up to greet him. Sage Pavilion's Vice Pavilion Master Tang Yun. Even if Wu Lingyu was awake, he would be surprised to see him. This was because among the many Vice Pavilion Masters and Elders of the Sage Pavilion, Tang Yun, who was the youngest, rarely came out. He didn't expect to come to the immortal land this time. Tang Yun looked as gentle as jade. He was dressed in white and looked as holy as he was. His long black hair was casually draped behind his back, making him look like an immortal. "Let's go back," Tang Yun said to the people from the Sage Pavilion. When the Sage Pavilion's people returned to their original positions, the other powers then surrounded them. "Vice Pavilion Master, what's the result of the discussion?" Tang Yun waved his hand, indicating for everyone to calm down. After everyone quieted down, he said, "Our final conclusion is that the humans, devils, and devils will all go in together." "Enter at the same time? That won't do. We disagree. How can we be with the devil race and the ghost race?" "That's right." Seeing those people become so agitated, Tang Yun was not in a hurry to explain. "Vice Pavilion Master, we asked you to negotiate because we respect you. We didn't ask you to show weakness to the devil race and ghost race." Tang Yun raised his eyebrows and said, "So you're saying that you have the confidence to completely annihilate the devil clan and ghost clan?" Everyone was silent. None of them had the confidence to say that they could kill everyone from the other two clans. Or should I say, you have the confidence to make the devil clan or ghost clan cooperate with you to deal with the other clan? Tang Yun said. Everyone fell silent again. They were still not sure about this. What a joke. They had always been enemies with the ghost race and the devil race. How could they possibly cooperate with them to deal with another race? If they worked together, they would be able to deal with the humans. After all, the ghost clan and the devil clan would occasionally interact with each other. Tang Yun saw that they were silent and said, "All of you aren't talking? Wasn't everyone talking excitedly just now? Now you're not going to say anything." Everyone lowered their heads, not daring to look him in the eye. "Since you can't kill the devil clan and the ghost clan, and you can't kill the other group that cooperated with them, then tell me, should we give up on this place or go in with them?" It seemed that this was the only way. The immortal realm is different from the continent. Here, the devil race and ghost race are equal in strength. Don't always think that this is the world that we inform. Yu Qingbai said. In the continent outside, in the blood tunnel, there were many humans and they were strong. Naturally, they wouldn't care about the ghost clan and the devil clan. However, it was different here. They could enter as many people as the humans could enter. They could enter as many people as the human lord could send in. In this place they had no advantage, so they had to keep their sense of superiority. Sima Yue looked at Tang Yun. Everyone was very excited just now. If they weren't careful, something could have happened and the Sage Pavilion would become the target of public criticism. However, he only needed to ask 2 questions to solve this problem. This person is powerful. The highest realm of battle was to subdue the enemy without fighting. His 2 sentences made everyone fall silent. This was even higher than that. Tang Yun, the youngest vice pavilion master of the Sage Pavilion. The youngest paragon rank expert. If he can't even settle such a small matter, his reputation would be undeserved. Jiang Junxian opened his eyes and said slowly, "He's Tang Yun?" Han Miao Shuang and Su Xiaoxiao were surprised. They had only heard of his name, but they had never seen him before. Sima Yue raised her eyebrows. It seemed that they knew this person. The youngest vice pavilion master, the youngest paragon rank expert. She had developed quite a bit of interest in him. But they still didn't know what was going on here. The Ghost Clan and the Devil Clan's reaction was similar to the humans. At first, they were against cooperating with the other 2 clans. But just like the humans, the Devil Clan and the nobles had the same concerns. Without absolute certainty, they couldn't take the risk. So, everyone temporarily decided to search for treasures together. Although they were unwilling, they had to agree. "After talking so much, you still haven't said what it is," Han Miao Shuang said. "It's nothing more than finding a treasure place." The 3 clans found it at the same time and decided to go in together. Jiang Junxian said lazily. This possibility is very high." Sima Yue said, "We just don't know where it is." "Yu?" A slightly familiar voice was heard. Sima Yue turned her head to look. It was the baby-faced girl Zhoulan that she met at Bright Red Mountain Peak. "Zhoulan, you're here too?" She was surprised and happy to see Zhoulan. Everyone went through thick and thin together at Bright Red Mountain Peak. "It's really you?" Zhoulan jumped up and looked at Sima Yue in surprise. "I didn't dare to recognize you when I saw you in female clothes. I didn't expect it to be you." "We heard that the Vice Valley Lord of Heartbreak Valley is a female with the same name as you. We thought it was just a name." Zhoulan said, So when we saw you just now, we didn't dare to recognize you. In the end, everyone made a bet. I lost, so I came to ask if it was you. If it was, they would come over. If it wasn't, they wouldn't come over to embarrass themselves. This group of bad people. Their original words were, if you want to embarrass yourself, you can do it alone. So, the others are here too? Sima Yue asked. They're all here. They're below. I'll ask them to come up. Zhou turned her head and waved at the sect she was in. The others immediately ran over. Heroic Sword Sect wasn't far from here, so they arrived quickly. Qi Wei ran the fastest. He came in front of Sima Yu and danced with his hands and feet. He circled around Sima Yu a few times. His face was filled with all kinds of expressions. He was so excited that he couldn't speak. After a while, he said something with a sobbing tone. Boss, you're actually a girl? Chapter 1134. Pifif. Qi Wei's expression made everyone burst out laughing. If you continue to give me that expression, don't call me boss anymore, Sima Yue said with a dark face. Alright boss. Qi Wei tried his best not to dwell on the fact that Sima Yue was a girl. Little junior sister, these are? Han Miao Shuang looked at these people in confusion. Let me introduce you. This is Blue Blade, Qi Wei, Zhou Yu Qing and Xianming Lang. They are the friends I told you about in Bright Red Mountain Peak. Sima Yue introduced Blue Blade and the others, then pointed to Han Miao Shuang and the others, saying, This is my senior sister Han Miao Shuang, senior brothers Jiang Junxian and Su Xiao Xiao. I've heard about the Bright Red Mountain Peak from little junior sister many times. I didn't expect to meet you here. Thank you for taking care of junior sister at that time. Han Miao Shuang said. Miss Han is too polite. Back then it was Yu who took care of us. If it wasn't for her, we would have died in Red Mountain Peak. Blue Blade said. What Miss Han or Miss Han, you can just call me Miao Shuang. Han Miao Shuang said. All right. Just call us by our names. Blue Blade nodded. So, Heartbreak Valley was really built by you guys? Xian Minglang looked at Sima Yue. You are the Deputy Valley Lord? Yes. Sima Yue nodded. I heard that Lord Yin Lin spent a long time alone with you? Is it true that he asked you to take care of the divinators? It's not that exaggerated. He only said that I'll take care of his disciple in the future. Sima Yue said, but that's just because he thought too highly of me. No matter what, you are different in other people's hearts. Sima Yue did not want to continue the topic and asked, How long have you been here? Do you know what happened? Why are the Devil Clan and the Ghost Clan here? What did Tang Yun mean by going in together? We came half a day earlier than you, but we've already found out what happened here. Zhou said, Do you see that empty valley below? Sima Yue nodded. Previously they had noticed that there were people everywhere except for the valley. It said that someone went in and discovered that it was a relic of a real celestial emperor. What happened on the small island was just a cover. Back then, the great emperor had actually lived here before. They also said that this is the mausoleum of that great emperor. Zhou said, No matter what it is, the person who came out obtained a treasure inside. Then the news spread out and the surrounding people, devils and demons all rushed over. Then why are we waiting here? Han Miao Shuang asked. Because everyone arrived around the same time. The human race claimed that it was a human sovereign emperor. The devil race claimed that it was a devil sovereign emperor and that only they could enter. The ghost race claimed that it was a ghost sovereign emperor and that only the ghost race could enter. That's why the three clans are stuck here, Blue Blade explained. It doesn't matter if it's the Imperial Emperor ruins or the tomb. With so many people entering, I'm afraid there won't be enough to go around. Su Xiao said. Sima Yue nodded in agreement. Also, was the small island really just a cover? Not necessarily. If it was just a cover, then how did Shen Qiuhe obtain the inheritance of the emperor? Could it be that the emperor would place the inheritance in a cover that he set up and not in his real residence? This was too impossible. Also, if this happened to someone else, as long as they found the treasure, they would want to hide the place and not let anyone know. How could it be that everyone knew about it? So, it was highly possible that this place was just a cover. And a cover actually attracted so many people over. The person who found the treasure and leaked the news at the beginning had a very suspicious motive. She thought of this point and so did Han Miao Shuang and the others. Their expressions were solemn. Why do you all have such expressions? Qi Wei saw that Sima Yue and the others knew that this place was a relic. Not only was he not happy, he even frowned and asked curiously. Do you really think that the relic on the island is a cover and this is the real relic? Sima Yue asked Blue Blade and the others. Blue Blade and the others were very sure before, but seeing Sima Yue's expression, they were a little uncertain. That's what everyone said. The one on the island said that it was the Emperor Ruins, but everyone went in and didn't get any treasures, so they all felt that they were cheated. And when the Emperor's treasure appeared here, everyone believed it. Before you asked this question I thought so too. Blue Blade said. Why is there a problem? There is indeed a problem. Sima Yue said, do you all know that Shen Qiuhe obtained the Emperor's inheritance in the relic on the island? What? Are you sure? Zhoulan asked. I saw it with my own eyes. He admitted it himself. Sima Yue said. If the Emperor's inheritance is there, then why aren't there any other treasures? Yu Qing asked. That's because we're not the only ones who came to this immortal land. Sima Yue said, many people came here and the things in the relic were taken by others. Others? Oh. Qi Wei asked. Outsiders. Sima Yue said. How do you know? Qingyi said it. Who is Qingyi? The Tree of Life. If the Tree of Life said it, then it shouldn't be wrong. Zhoulan said, if that's really the case, then the one on the island is the real relic? Then what is this place? What do you think this is? Sima Yue asked back. Zhoulan and Blue Blade thought of something and their expressions changed. If that's really the case, then if the people from the sect go in? No, I have to hurry and inform Master about this. Blue Blade said as he wanted to go back. Blue Blade, you should know what to say, right? Some people don't want others to know about them. Sima Yue said. Blue Blade was stunned, she was talking about Shen Qiuhe. He nodded, saying, I understand. Also, we can't be sure about this. Just tell your master and the others secretly. Sima Yue reminded him again. Okay. Blue Blade turned and left. Qi Wei and the others still didn't understand and asked curiously, what's wrong with Blue Blade? I haven't seen his face change like that in a long time. The three of them still didn't understand the severity of the situation. Zhoulan understood them better, they had simple personalities and thought of things simply. If she didn't remind them, they wouldn't be able to connect the dots. If the one on the island is the real relic, then what is this place? She asked. That should be a fake relic. An emperor can't have two relics so close to each other. Yu Qing said. She understood a little and took a deep breath. Could it be? Chapter 1135. Xian Ming Lang understood a little, but he didn't think that deeply. Qi Wei still didn't understand. Could it be? He asked. Zhoulan sighed, saying, if that place is real, then this place is fake. Since it's fake, why would someone find a treasure here and say that this is the real emperor's remains? What's the benefit of saying that? Get everyone to come here. Qi Wei said, but this could be real. Yu Yu has already confirmed that the island is the real remains. Could this be the real remains? Zhoulan asked. Impossible unless that emperor is an idiot. Qi Wei said. Of course the emperor wasn't an idiot. So, we've been here for so long, but have we heard who discovered this place first? Which power does it belong to? Zhoulan asked again. Yu Qing and the others shook their heads. When a normal person obtains a treasure, they can't wait for the whole world to not know. Why would that person release the news? Zhoulan continued to ask. It must be to attract people here on purpose. Qi Wei said. But why? Yu Qing asked. No matter what the reason is, this news is enough to make people tremble. Zhoulan said. Blue Blade understood this, so he went back to inform Master and the others? I just don't know if Master and the others will believe it. Zhoulan was a little worried. They believed that there was an inside story because they believed in Sima Yue, but the sect might not believe it. In front of treasures and opportunities, everyone's rationality was pitifully low. What if this place has nothing to do with the emperor's remains? Or is this another opportunity? Xian Ming Lang said. We can't rule out that possibility. Zhoulan said, that's why I'm worried that Master and the others won't believe it. As expected, Blue Blade had an argument with someone beside his master, and finally left after saying some angry words. They don't believe you, right? Zhoulan asked. My master is fine, but the hateful people at Red Blade's side keep saying that I'm a coward and that there's no inside story at all. I made up such a lousy excuse because I didn't dare to go. Blue Blade said, I can't say anything about Shen Qiuhe, so it's normal that they don't believe me. Since you've already said it, it's none of your business whether they listen or not. Han Miao Shuang said. Even so, we're still from the same sect. If something happens to them, we can't just ignore it. Blue Blade said. Although there were internal disagreements within a sect, they were all united to the outside world. Everyone knew that without the lips, the teeth would feel cold. But if they insist on dying, will you follow them? Han Miao Shuang asked. If there really is something, we will go together. Blue Blade said. Are you stupid? Sima Yue rolled her eyes at Blue Blade. She had thought that he was a good person before, but now it seemed that he was really stupid. What? Instead of thinking about how to save the lives of your sect members, you want to die with them. If you're not stupid, what are you? Sima Yue said. You don't know, but our sect has some stubborn old people who won't listen to us. Zhou Lan said somewhat helplessly. Then let those old fogies go in themselves. Han Miao Shuang said. That's not realistic. Zhou Lan shook her head. If we go in, we can be more alert if anything happens. I hope that we can avoid some things. I hope so. At this moment, the heroic sword sect members waved at them, indicating that they should go back. They're calling us, they should be going in soon. You guys go ahead. Sima Yue smiled. Qi Wei pulled Sima Yue's clothes and said, Boss, if anything happens, you have to come and save us. Sima Yue used 2 fingers to pinch her clothes and pulled it out gently. She smiled at Qi Wei. If I don't go in, how can I save you? As my little brother, you have to be smart, don't die in there. Boss, I feel that your smile is a little scary. Qi Wei said with a frown. Is it? Sima Yue's smile deepened. The Qi clan should have prepared many good things for you. Use them well, don't die in there. Otherwise, I won't acknowledge you as my little brother. All right. Qi Wei left feeling wronged. He believed in Sima Yue. If she said that something bad would happen, then nothing good would happen. Save his life. Save his life. Otherwise, he wouldn't be her little brother. When Blue Blade and the others walked far away, Han Miao Shuang asked, Little junior sister, are we really not going in? We'll see. But we definitely won't go in with them. Sima Yue said. Then should we inform the others? Sima Yue looked at the people below, some of whom she had some relations with, and said, We can inform them, but whether they believe it or not, it's none of our business. How do we inform them? Sima Yue took out a pen and paper and quickly wrote a few words. Then she divided them into small pieces and called out the scarlet bees, letting them fly towards the forces that she wanted to inform. People were already entering from the entrance. Those who received the paper did not take her words to heart. Big Wei and Little Wei were talking to the people in the sect when a scarlet bee flew in front of them and stopped. What is this? The person who was talking to them asked. Yue's scarlet bee. Big Wei said. He stretched out his hand and the scarlet bee stopped in his hand. A faint white light flashed and a piece of paper appeared in his hand. He picked up the piece of paper and the scarlet bee flapped its wings and flew away. Is she sending us a message? Little Wei saw that Big Wei didn't say anything after reading the piece of paper and asked. Big Wei opened the piece of paper and everyone could see the words on it. Real and fake historical remains, beware of traps. Little Wei read it and said, She's saying that this is a fake historical remains and there's a trap here? No matter if it's a trap or not, we have to be careful. Big Wei said, It's not like you don't know Yue, that child, she wouldn't say things that she isn't confident in. Yue? The array genius in the sect that you were talking about? The people beside him asked. That's her. She seems to be quite popular recently. I often hear people talking about her. Indeed, heroes come from the youth. If only this person was from our sect. With her talent, I believe that our 100 changing doors will be able to regain our former glory. But that's just wishful thinking. The power that she just established is quite big. It's not realistic to ask her to give up her position as the Vice Valley Lord to join us. Big Wei and Little Wei looked at each other. They had not announced that Sima Yue had the array book. Only the sect leader knew about it. If these people knew that the book was with her, they would not think this way. Chapter 1136. CPA 300_4. Big Wei kept the paper. Big Wei, Little Wei, you guys have interacted with Sima Yue before. What do you think of this matter? The 100 changing doors people asked. I think it's highly possible. Little Wei said, I've been suspicious about this since the beginning. Why would a ruin appear out of nowhere? Now it seems that there really is a problem. But how did Sima Yue find out? Someone questioned. Is this news reliable? I think it's good to believe in some things. But we can't give up on this opportunity. Then we'll still go in, but everyone must remain vigilant. Big Wei said, inform the inner sect disciples that if anything happens, immediately activate the array and leave. All right. Sima Yue was not surprised to see those people enter after reading the note. They didn't listen to you, Huahua said. Everything is within my expectations. Sima Yue said, a note can only alert them, but it can't stop them. You already knew? Then why did you tell them? Huahua didn't understand. Some relationships can be considered passable. It's up to us to tell them, but it's up to them to listen. Sima Yue said, I'll be happy if they can prevent this from happening. But if they don't listen and something happens in the end, I won't blame myself. Huahua nodded, somewhat understanding what she meant. They're going into. Little Dream had been paying attention to the Demon Wolf clan the entire time. Seeing them walk down the mountain, she clenched her fists and said, don't worry, they won't be able to escape. Sima Yue patted Xiaomeng's head. What did you do? Han Miao Shuang asked. It's nothing much. I just got Qi Feng to sprinkle something on them during the chaos. Sima Yue said. Is the poison effective? Will they find out? Su Xiaoxiao felt a little worried. If they found out, then they couldn't take them by surprise. The Devil Clan is more sensitive to these smells. If you really use poison, I'm afraid it won't escape their noses. Jiang Junxian said. Who said I poisoned it? Sima Yue said. If it isn't poison, then what is it? It's just some pollen, some Huahua's pollen. Sima Yue said, it's not strange to have some pollen on your body in the Wonderland, right? The scent of Huahua lingered on their bodies for a long time without dissipating. As long as Qi Feng was there, he would be able to find them. Besides, don't we have scrolls? It's just that these scrolls are sometimes unreliable. Unreliable? Our aura is decreasing. Once it completely disappears, we probably won't be able to sense their whereabouts. Sima Yue said, after all, this is a Dharma treasure that targets humans. Now that we have Huahua's pollen, we have another form of protection. Han Miao Shuang said. When are we going in? Let's wait until they've all gone in. The humans, devils and ghosts went in one after another. In order to be the first to get the treasures, everyone was fighting to be the first to go in. Many people started to fight at the entrance again, giving other people a chance to enter. Master, they've all gone in. Are we still not moving? A guard behind Deja asked. Deja looked at Sima Yue, who was on the opposite mountain. His eyes darkened as he said, wait a while more. The people behind him understood that he wanted to wait for Sima Yue to come down and go in together. Even if they didn't go in together, at least they wouldn't be too far apart. They hadn't officially acknowledged each other, but he was already worried about her safety. It was a pity that Sima Yue didn't care about his feelings. After a while, the ghost clansmen had all gone in. There weren't many people left from the other two clans. But she still didn't have any intention to move. Deja was so angry that he wanted to vomit blood. Are you going in or not? If I'm not going in, don't stand outside and tease me. Master, they've all gone in. We, go in. Deja looked at Sima Yue. She didn't look like she wanted to go in. He could only order everyone to go in. At this moment they were the last few. That ghost clansman is really strange. He only went in when the other ghost clansmen went in. Could it be that he knew something was going on? I feel like he's waiting for us. Jiang Junxian said, do you know him? Speaking of the ghost clan. Everyone looked at Sima Yue. She was the only one who had interacted with the ghost clan. And the other half of her body also had the aura of the ghost clan. Sima Yue looked at them and said, why are you looking at us? Don't tell me he's waiting for me? Junior sister, do you know him? Han Miao Shuang asked. I know him. Sima Yue admitted. You actually know him? Why haven't I heard you mention him? Eh? Didn't I mention him? Sima Yue said in surprise. He's the ghost clan from Bright Red Mountain Peak? The last time I came back from Bright Red Mountain Peak, I almost died because of them. The three senior brothers and senior sisters were silent. Then Han Miao Shuang cursed, damn, you should have said it earlier. We'll go and kill them. Senior sister, calm down. Sima Yue saw how agitated she was and held her back. Don't worry, I won't let him off so easily. No wonder I was wondering why they kept looking at us. So they're enemies. Su Xiaoxiao was also furious. Master and Teacher Gu left the academy because Sima Yue's physique was completely activated. They knew her secret and went to find a solution for her. At the same time, the ghost clan's aura was activated and pushed her body to the brink of collapse. So, it was all because of the ghost clan. They stared at her. Why didn't she say it earlier? Alright, you guys don't have to be so angry. Sima Yue smiled. I already said that I won't let them off. When I take my revenge, you guys can take care of them. She didn't expect them to be like this when they found out. Instantly, she felt warmth in her heart. Then let's go in. Han Miao Shuang said. Don't be anxious. Since we're not going in to look for treasures, let's wait a little longer. Sima Yue said. What are we waiting for? Now that everyone has gone in, the ghost clan didn't leave any marks. What if we can't find them when we go in? Sima Yue looked at the anxious person and said, if we can't find them, we can wait for them to come out. Aya's senior sister, calm down. The bee said that someone is coming. Let's hide. She brought people into the spirit pagoda and heard little spirit observing the situation outside. A group of masked men in black flew over from afar. Looking at the empty valley, a lady said, they went in once they went in. Looking at these footprints, there should be a lot of people who went in. Is everything ready? A hoarse voice asked. Yes, everything has been set up inside. That lady said. Then let's go in and take a look. Remember to cut off their escape route. We'll open it half a year later. Yes. After speaking, those men in black all went in, leaving only a few to guard the entrance. Chapter 1137. Do you guys smell anything? I feel a little dizzy, Dong. The men in black fell down one after another. Then Sima Yue and the rest appeared on the spot. Let's go and take a look. They came to the men in black and pulled down their masks. Eldest senior brother, do you know him? Sima Yue looked at Jiang Junxian. Jiang Junxian shook his head. Sima Yue threw away the mask in her hand. It seemed like someone was up to something again. She just didn't know if these people were in cahoots with those who framed the God Dragon sect and those who started killing people everywhere. What is this? Come over and take a look. Han Miao Shuang beckoned everyone over. Sima Yue walked over and saw a turntable embedded in the soil. The turntable didn't have any energy fluctuations. If it wasn't for the black-clothed men removing the soil on it, they definitely wouldn't have discovered it. Little junior sister, do you know what this is? Han Miao Shuang asked when she saw how engrossed Sima Yue was. This is the first time I've seen this, but I'm sure I've seen it in a book before. Sima Yue said, I'll go look for it. She sent her divine sense into the spirit pagoda and started rummaging through the library. Little spirit appeared and looked at Sima Yue's spirit body. Sima Yue noticed that there was something wrong with little spirit's gaze. She shifted her gaze away from the book and asked, Little spirit, what's wrong? The fourth floor of the spirit pagoda is open. The book in Sima Yue's hand almost fell to the ground as she looked at little spirit and asked, It was activated when I advanced. Little spirit nodded his head. Then why didn't you tell me earlier? Sima Yue stared at him. Seeing that there was something wrong with his expression, she said, What's wrong? Whenever you are alone, you can come in and look at the things on the fourth floor. Little spirit said. All right. Sima Yue nodded. Seeing him like this, it seemed that the things on the fourth floor were a little scary. Seeing that little spirit had not told her about it for so long, it was probably because he did not want others to know about it. She had been with someone else recently. It seemed like he would have to come in and take a look when he had the time. Now it was better to deal with the matter at hand. She continued to look for books, flipping through each one a few times before putting them down. Little spirit came to her side and asked, What are you looking for? Do you remember a book that was quite old and thin? It talked about some weird things? Sima Yue asked. The books here are all relatively old. There are even books from ancient times. Secondly, those books were very thin. Third, more than half of the books here were about strange books. Which book are you looking for? Little spirit asked. Sima Yue was speechless. This guy. Sima Yue drew a rough picture of the turntable in the air and said, There's a record of this. Little spirit thought for a moment and all the books on the bookshelf flew up and flipped through them. Soon a book floated in front of Sima Yue. This book? Sima Yue took the book and flipped through 2 pages saying, This is it. Thank you, little spirit. Her divine sense returned outside and Sima Yue had an ancient book in her hand. This is it? Han Miao Shuang asked. Sima Yue nodded. She flipped open the book and found the place where the turntable was described. Hiss, it's actually a Rubik's Cube sky. Han Miao Shuang cried out in surprise when she saw the description. What's a Rubik's Cube sky? Su Xiaoxiao asked. It's something that can create a space. It's just that this space has to be built on top of a real space. Han Miao Shuang said. What's the use of this space? It can create anything you want. It's similar to an illusion array. But it's more advanced than an illusion array. The things created inside are all real. Sima Yue said. Hiss, everyone took a deep breath. There was actually such an advanced thing here. If I want to kill someone inside, won't it be easy? If that was the case, wouldn't those people who went in be dead for sure? It's not that easy. Sima Yue said, the things that are consumed inside need to be supported by spiritual energy. The stronger the spiritual energy, the more powerful the things created. The range will also be larger. That's still good. If it's really unrestrained, then this thing is too scary. But this thing is already closed. If there's no external force to open it, or if the original owner opens it, the people inside can forget about coming out. Sima Yue said. Those people just now said that they cut off their escape route. They should be saying that they closed it. Little Dream guessed, the owner of this thing should be that person. It's highly possible. Sima Yue said. If that's the case, then everyone inside is like a turtle in a jar. Seems like it's really a fake historical remains. Jiang Junxian sighed. Then do we still go in? This Rubik's Cube sky is already closed. Unless we open it first, we can't go in. Then can you open it? No. Then what should we do? There were quite a lot of people in black just now. With the help of this thing, it was not impossible to kill everyone inside. Think of a way to open it. Sima Yue said. Didn't you say that we can't open it? I can't open it now. But there's a way. Sima Yue raised the ancient book in her hand and pointed at a line of small words below. Everyone looked at the small words and said, then hurry up and study it. They now felt that this person was still a little naughty. She liked to tease them when she had nothing to do. Sima Yue hugged the book and sat at the side to study it. Following the method written in the book, she rearranged the array stones that were originally messy on the turntable. Although there was a chant in the book to arrange the array stones, every step had to be done carefully. So when she opened it again, 2 to 3 days had already passed. A wave of energy came. Just like the wave at the entrance, it attracted everyone over. It's done? Yes. We can go in now. Sima Yue said. Then let's go in. Wait. Sima Yue stopped them. What are we waiting for? If we go in and get locked up, what will we do? Sima Yue asked. So, we have to do something outside. She first set up a few arrays outside to hide this place. Then she called Little Rock and Thousand Resonance out. I've set up an array. Most people won't find this place. You guys stay here and guard. No matter what happens, you can't let this place close. Understand? Little Rock and Thousand Resonance understood the importance of this. They nodded and said, You don't worry. If there's a need, I will gather the bird clans nearby. Okay, then I'll leave the outside to you guys. After speaking, she brought everyone into the space. Chapter 1138. When Sima Yue and the rest arrived at the Rubik's Cube, they realized that it was no different from the outside world. If they didn't know beforehand, they wouldn't have noticed it. Those people have been here for so long. I wonder where they are now, Huahua said. Let's take care of the Devil Wolf clan first. Sima Yue said. Even if they had been here for a day, they wouldn't be too far away. She called out the Scarlet Bees and sent them out to scout for information. She also called Little Seven and Qingyi out. The space here is quite big. Seven sensed around and said. It is indeed not small. Otherwise, how could it accommodate so many people? Sima Yue said. There are corpses over there. Little Seven pointed not far ahead. They flew over and saw a pile of corpses. It's a human. The person who killed them is also a human. Su Xiaoxiao checked and said. It should be those black-clothed men who chased after us. Han Miao Shuang said. To them, this is a hunting plan. What is the purpose of these people coming in? They keep stirring up trouble in the continent. What exactly do they want to do? Sima Yue frowned. Every time we catch a dead person, we can't get anything out of them. Little Seven pouted. The Scarlet Bees have smelled the scent of Huahua pollen. Sima Yue said, That direction. They followed the directions given by the Scarlet Bees and caught up to the Devil Wolf clan in less than 2 days. It really is them. At this moment, the Demon Wolf race was fighting with a group of humans. Sima Yue noticed that these people's expressions were somewhat sluggish. They didn't seem to be normal. The Demon Wolf clan seemed to be too excited. It was as if they had eaten stimulants. They kept attacking the humans as if they didn't know pain. They watched from afar and had no intention of making a move. With their current strength, it would be useless even if they attacked. Why do I feel like they aren't normal? Little Seven said. It's indeed abnormal, as if it's being controlled by someone. Han Miao Shuang said. They're poisoned. Sima Yue could guess that something was wrong when she saw their expressions. She sniffed hard and smelled a different fragrance. She took out a few antidote pills and gave them to them, saying, "Eat this." They were all alchemists, so they could tell at a glance that it was an antidote. Each of them took one and ate it. Those people must have been poisoned by the smell when they passed by. Then they lost their minds and started fighting. The battle strength of the Devil Wolf clan is quite strong. Han Miao Shuang said. The battle prowess of the Demon Wolf clan is ranked among the top in the demon realm. Little Dream said, it's precisely because their combat power is strong that they have a rich clan land in the cruel demon realm. However, most of their things were stolen. There are so many of them and they are so excited. It won't be easy to deal with them. Right now we don't have the right time, the right place and the right people. Of course it won't be easy. Sima Yue said. She felt the movement beside her and reached out to hold Little Dream's hand, saying, "Don't worry, we will kill them all." Little Dream's hand clenched into a fist. She looked at Sima Yue and nodded heavily. She believed in her master. If she said that she would take revenge for her, then she definitely would. The battle in the distance was quickly decided. The humans were all killed while the Devil Wolf clan didn't suffer too many losses. It was clear that their battle prowess was strong. Looking at the ferocious Devil Wolf clan, Sima Yue felt a headache coming on. She had to come up with a good plan. After the Devil Wolf clan killed everyone, they continued to walk forward. When they were far away, they gradually regained their senses. What happened to us just now? We went through a battle just now. Haha, that killing was so satisfying. But why can't I remember clearly? I think you were too excited from the killing that you can't remember. No, we were indeed a little abnormal just now. Someone said, as expected of the Emperor's remains. Just a random place can make us feel dazed. So you're saying that this is really the Emperor's remains? That's right. Let's go. Let's see if we can get any treasures. Those people flew away. Sima Yue heard their words through the Scarlet Bee and was speechless. Could it be that they were really from the Beast clan and didn't have brains? This clearly wasn't the effect of the remains, alright? Looking at how happy they were, it really made one. Little Dream saw those people laughing so happily and the evil aura in her eyes became stronger. Back then, after they destroyed the Nightmare clan, they also laughed so wantonly on her clan's land, declaring their victory. Thinking about those who had died, she clenched her fists. She swore that she would kill these people with her own hands. Her nails dug into her palms and fresh blood dripped down, just like her heart. Little Seven was beside Little Dream and felt her pain. She pried her fingers away and said, "Don't be sad, we'll be with you. They've gone far away. Follow them." Sima Yue waved her hand and everyone followed the Devil Wolf clan from afar. During this period, the Devil Wolf clan went through 2 battles. One was with the Devil clan and the other was with the Ghost clan. Both ended in their victory. From this, one could see how strong their battle strength was. After following them for 2 days, she finally found an opportunity. The Devil Wolf clan met with a human powerhouse. Coincidentally, that powerhouse came out from the canyon in front. During the battle, those people accidentally said something about retreating into the remains, letting the Devil Wolf clan know about the canyon in front. The Scarlet Bees had already discovered the canyon. Sima Yue was worried about how to trick them into the canyon. It was really like someone giving her a pillow when she was sleepy. Let's go ahead and set it up first. Sima Yue took out a one-time use array and brought everyone to the canyon. I'll go set up the array. Sima Yue threw the people on the canyon and went to set up the array on both sides of the canyon. She first set up a dragon trapping array. She wanted these people to not be able to leave once they entered. Then she set up an illusion array and put enough poison at the entrance. As long as those people entered and the dragon trapping array was activated, the poison would spread. Yu, what kind of poison did you put in? Little Seven ran to Sima Yue and asked. A poison that will let them enjoy. Sima Yue said. Is it the poison that poisoned Huayang Palace last time? No. Sima Yue kept the jade bottle. This is the upgraded version of that poison. That one can only be used against humans. This one will definitely make the Devil Clan and Ghost Clan surrender. When everyone saw Sima Yue like this, they all had the same thought. In the future they should never provoke an array master or poison master, especially a petty and evil one. Chapter 1139. CPA 300_4. After Sima Yue had arranged everything properly, she brought everyone to the side of the cliff. She used a small array to hide them and waited for the Devil Wolf clansmen to come in. Half a day later, the Scarlet Bees guarding outside sent news that the Devil Wolf race had arrived. Sima Yue immediately activated the small array, completely concealing their figures and aura. Soon they saw the Devil Wolf clan members running over excitedly. Haha, is this the canyon those humans were talking about? This is part of the ruins? Why does it look so ordinary? Have you forgotten what the humans said? There's an illusion formation outside. We have to break it before we can see what's inside. We don't know anything about formations. How can we break that illusion formation? We don't understand formations, but we have power. Smash it. Smash everything outside. Let's see how long that formation can last. Yes, we have the power. Go smash all these things. The people of the Demon Wolf clan were all excited. They condensed their magic power and turned the stones and flowers outside into ashes. The Devil Wolf race could not see Sima Yue, but Yue and the rest could see the Devil Wolf race clearly. The corner of her mouth couldn't help but twitch as she watched the demon wolves attack in a disorderly manner. Fortunately, the array she had set up was relatively sturdy. Otherwise, with their disturbance, she would not be able to open it. She injected some spirit energy into the array to activate it. After the magic energy dissipated, another scene appeared in the canyon. What a dense demonic aura. Could it be that the Emperor here is really from the demon race? Aha, if that's the case, then we can use everything here. Quick, let's go in and see what treasures are inside. The demonic wolves rushed into the canyon. When they were all in the canyon, Sima Yue activated the dragon trapping array. Once the dragon trapping array was activated, the illusory array completed its mission. The scene in front of him instantly disappeared, and so did the dense demonic chi. What's going on? Demon Wolf looked at the changes around him and was astonished. Young Patriarch, it's a formation. They raised their heads and saw a layer of ripples on top of the canyon. The same was true for the entrance and exit. Clearly, the entire canyon was enveloped by a formation. Who's messing around? Maroon Wolf shouted as he looked into the sky. Junior Valley Master, there is no demonic chi here. We have been deceived. This young master knows. Maroon Wolf roared at the clansmen. If he still couldn't tell that they had been deceived, then he didn't need to stay in the Devil Realm anymore. Who's behind this? Demon Wolf's men shouted again. Sima Yue undid the array and they immediately saw the figure on the cliff. Who are you? Why did you scheme against us? Maroon Wolf asked. You may not know us, but you should understand when you see her, Sima Yue said and moved aside, revealing Xiaomeng behind her. The moment he saw Little Dream, Winged Wolf was shocked speechless. Dream, Nightmare Beast? Maroon Wolf, do you still remember me? Xiaomeng coldly looked at him. Her eyes were filled with killing intent. You are that Nightmare Beast. Maroon Wolf remembered that when he was young, he had seen his clansmen dissect her with others. So many years had passed, but she was still the same. She was still the same in his memories. It's rare that you still remember me. Impossible, weren't you suppressed? How could you be here? Maroon Wolf shouted. I have to thank you for suppressing me in the human world. Otherwise, how could I know my master and save me? Xiaomeng coldly laughed. Humph, even if you have an undying body with a human as your master, do you think you can beat us? Maroon Wolf saw that Sima Yue's group didn't have many people and they weren't very strong, so he didn't put them in his eyes. After a short moment of shock, he returned to his usual arrogant self. When did we say that we would fight with you? You idiots. Little Seven placed her hands on her hips with a look of disdain. You want to use this array to deal with us? Maroon Wolf said, What? Do you want to use this to trap us for a lifetime, or do you want to come in and fight with us? Seeing Sima Yue and the others above, he guessed that they wouldn't come in. If they came down, they could catch them all in one fell swoop and then slowly break the array. You want to use reverse psychology to lure us down. It's a pity that it's useless against us, Sima Yue said. Maroon Wolf's eyes narrowed. It seemed like these people were planning on wasting time with them. You guys go and break the array for me. He ordered the clansmen beside him. Yes, young clan leader. Those people flew into the air and attacked the array. However, no matter how much strength they used, they couldn't break the array at all. After attacking a few times, those demon wolves felt dizzy. Their stamina was depleted and they fell to the ground with a dong sound. Useless things. Maroon Wolf didn't think that there was anything wrong with those people. He pointed at the other clansmen and said, "You guys go." Those clansmen went up to attack, but like the others before, they fell down after a few attacks. Useless things. You guys go up. Maroon Wolf roared. Young clan leader, I feel like something is strange. A person beside Maroon Wolf said. What's strange? Maroon Wolf asked. The clansmen we brought in are all very strong. It's impossible for them to become like this after just a few attacks. That person said. Maroon Wolf calmed down and thought about it. It was true. The Demon Wolf clansmen couldn't be so weak that they would become like this after just a few attacks. Go and take a look. What's wrong with them? Yes. That person went to check and came back saying, Young clan leader, they should have been poisoned. Poisoned? How could they have been poisoned? Are you sure? No, they really were poisoned. Ha ha ha, Little Seven's voice came from the cliff. She covered her mouth as she laughed. We just wanted to see when you guys would realize that you were poisoned. You really are a group of idiots, taking you this long to realize that you were poisoned. The Demon Wolf clansmen's faces changed. Not only did these people trap them in the array, they even poisoned them. They were already prepared. What kind of poison did you give us? It's a poison that will make your entire body weak and you won't be able to use your magic. However, it won't take effect that quickly at first, but once you use your magic, it will take effect faster. Sima Yue explained. Once she said this, those who were preparing to use their magic to attack quickly retracted it. Even Maroon Wolf was the same. You group of idiots. Even if you don't use your magic, this poison will take effect in half an hour. It's already been 10 minutes, you still have 10 minutes of free time. Little Seven kindly reminded them. Chapter 1140. CPA 300_4. Little Seven's words caused the expressions of the Devil Wolf clan members to change. They were all poisoned? Impossible. They were the valiant Devil Wolf clan, so how could they be poisoned by a human? You don't believe me? Little Seven said, you can try circulating your magic and see if you can be like those people. No one tried. They subconsciously believed Little Seven's words. In order to prevent the poison from taking effect prematurely, none of them moved. What do you want to do? Winged Wolf asked with a dark face. Do you still need to ask? Little Seven had an expression that said, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Whatever you did to Little Meng back then, you'll have to pay it back today. How dare you? Why wouldn't I dare? Do you think that this is still the demon realm? Do you think it's still under your rule? Nightmare Beast, if you dare to kill us, my Devil Wolf clan will not let you off. Even if you hide in the human world, they will dig 3 feet into the ground to find you. Maroon Wolf threatened. Really? Then let them dig 3 feet into the ground. Sima Yue said, perhaps before they can dig 3 feet into the ground, we will have already attacked the Devil Realm and destroyed your nest. You should worry about yourselves now. Maroon Wolf looked at Sima Yue. He didn't know why, but when he looked at this weak human, he felt a chill in his heart. Could it be that he was really going to die here today? Little Meng, it's almost time. Sima Yue said, be careful. Okay. Little Dream nodded and was about to fly down. Wait. Sima Yue pulled her back and took out Ling Long, let her accompany you. Ling Long flew out of Sima Yue's hand and rubbed against Xiao Meng. Little Dream grabbed Ling Long and flew down. The dragon trapping array allowed entry but not exit. When Little Dream flew in, the ripples moved and then calmed down. The members of the Devil Wolf clan looked at her warily. When she took a step forward, they took a step back. Nightmare Beast, I advise you not to act recklessly. You know my Devil Wolf clan, you? I know. Of course I know that your Devil Wolf clan is cruel by nature and will not shrink from any crime. Their favorite thing to do is to exterminate other people's clans. Little Dream said. But so what? You've already killed all of my clansmen. Do you think you can destroy my clan a second time? As she spoke, she waved Ling Long in her hand, and sword chi spread out, killing those who had fallen to the ground. Nightmare beast, don't be impulsive. Let's talk things over. With the passage of time, they now felt that their movements were slowing down and their magic power was obstructed. Facing Little Dream, even with so many of them, they were powerless to fight back. Talk nicely? Back then, when you exterminated my nightmare clan, did you ever think that we could talk things over? Back then, you conducted thousands of experiments on my body and skinned me alive over and over again. Have you ever thought of talking nicely? It was the first time Han Miao Shuang and Su Xiao Xiao heard Little Dream talk about what happened back then. Thinking of the scene she described, they couldn't help but tear up. They simply couldn't imagine that she watched her clansmen die because of her. She was skinned alive over and over again, but she couldn't die. Little Dream was so young back then, how did she survive? Little Dream didn't say a word. She waved Ling Long once and a group of devil wolves died under her sword. Fresh blood splattered on her face and body. That fierce gaze made her look like she crawled out from hell. Back then you couldn't kill me and you couldn't take out the things in my body. You sealed my strength and memories, and then suppressed me in the Yilan continent for hundreds of years. Have you ever thought of talking nicely? Little Dream waved her sword again. Now you tell me we can talk things over. Tell me, how should we talk things over? When Little Dream recovered her memories, Little Seven wasn't by her side. She didn't see her crazy look. Hearing her say this today, she felt that her heart was going to break. Little Dream, don't kill them with one strike. She stomped her little feet and flew down. She came to Little Dream's side and looked at those people. Killing them with one strike is too easy for them. I'll go too. Hua Hua also flew in and stood on the other side of Little Dream. No matter what you do, count me in. Although the name Hua Hua was given to her by Little Dream and she always felt that this name was too low, it didn't erase the friendship between them. Little Dream looked at Little Seven and then looked at Hua Hua. She nodded and said, Little Seven is right. Killing them like this is too easy for them. I said an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. I can't let you die so easily, right, Maroon Wolf? Maroon Wolf saw Little Dream's bloody smile and wanted to retreat. However, because his body was numb, he fell down. What do you want to do? He trembled as he asked. Didn't I say it already? An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Whatever you did to me, I will return it to you bit by bit. Maroon Wolf thought about how he had seen her being dissected alive by those people. He was so scared that his face turned white. He shouted, No. You think I'll stop just because you say no? This isn't the time for you to have the final say. Little Seven went up and stepped on his chest saying, Humph, how many times did Little Dream say no in the past? Did you agree? Don't ask others to do what you didn't do in the past. Pa! A vine appeared in Hua Hua's hand. With a wave of her hand, the vine viciously whipped those people. Aya, are we going to dissect them? I don't have a knife yet. Yu, Little Seven raised her head and shouted at Sima Yue. Sima Yue looked at her silly appearance and speechlessly shook her head. She took out 2 daggers and threw them over. Hua Hua waved her vine and it wrapped around the 2 daggers, pulling them back. She gave one to Little Seven. Ling Long twisted her body and turned into a dagger as well. Now the 3 of them each had a dagger. Then let's begin. Little Seven looked at Little Dream and retreated to the side. This person who had hurt Little Dream before naturally had to be dealt with by her own hands. Little Dream slowly walked over and squatted down beside Maroon Wolf, playing with the dagger in her hand. Don't worry, Ling Long is very sharp. Although it's going to cut through your body, you definitely won't feel any pain. Those organs of yours, even if I cut them all off, they'll still look like they're connected. Maroon Wolf's body began to tremble as he heard this. He finally understood the expression that little girl had when she had laid on the chopping board that year. That was fear, despair, pain, and struggle. But what he didn't know was that after being tortured hundreds and thousands of times, when she saw those daggers again, that feeling was doubled. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.